All right, ready to go. I love behind the scenes stuff like that where it's like, I wonder what the broadcaster's like doing. And you're just hovering the mouse over the ban command. Completely without context at all. I need to get around to printing the RC car. I haven't done that. But we have to do some AutoCAD streams on it. This thing is taking precedent because it's currently blocking a couple other projects from being done. Like the mixer, I want to actually start doing the PCB so that I can actually flex my Fusion 360 skills appropriately. Lawn Dog is on Twitch. Email notification for Twitch works excellent. This is the second time I've gotten you through notifications. That's cool. That's good that they work because I hear all kinds of stuff about it not working, you know, and how terrible it is. But yeah, I have the filament, or sorry, calling this filament is a little bit of a misnomer. Prefer to YouTube, it's better viewing. Yeah, it is. It is. The YouTube player is much better. But Twitch is where the music is, and it's it's easier to hold an audience with Twitch. YouTube has the discoverability, and I guess Twitch is trying to kind of catch up with that. White smoke. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but it should show the details while not being completely gray. Hit and miss with notifications. Sometimes I get the email first, sometimes I get the Twitch pop-up first, and sometimes it's none of the above. Yeah, I turn off the Twitch notifications because I check the sidebar for the channels. That's kind of how I use Twitch. Oh, we need to boot up the scope. Breakneck scope booting scene. Look at it go. So fast and technological. Here we go into Scope Town. It's a rough ride. Are you ready? Let's turn on the scope. The scope it's turning on still. It's a tablet OS, so it kind of doesn't really like booting, and you don't really leave the scope on in between sessions. You kind of turn it off because it's hot. But we're booting the scope, and it's exciting and action-packed. Let's go! I'm gonna test a signal right now. Let's go. This thing takes a full 50 seconds to boot up. Twitch is trying some new stuff with discoverability. They've got like co-streaming, which would be fun and funny to do in the realm of electronics, but I don't know. Unless I get super inspiration. All right, we're gonna go back to Big John for the music, which is, I guess, Flash DC. We'll go right in the middle of a mix anyway. There we go. Back to the tech house for a little bit. Yeah, the new feature. What is that? It's oh, somebody gave me a Sark subscription. Oh, I think I was there. Shared viewership. What the heck? Shared chat now unlocks combined view counts and more. I don't know if that's only for partners or what. Oh, the fan. I need to move the fan. If I don't have this fan on me, I get sweaty. I haven't even unwrapped my new monitor yet. I really needed to do that. I need to open this thing up. I had to buy a new one because I broke one because of static electricity. I have a humidifier now. Hey, what's up, Brink? How you doing? I'm excited about steering towards RC equipment again. Getting something going, but I have my limits when it comes to money. My experience with RC stuff is that it's been, at least 1/24th scale is a little cheaper than 1/10th scale. It's less popular for some reason. I don't know why. I prefer the smaller car. You know, 1/10th is like responsibility, and you'll break your ankle if you crash it. You know, this thing is kind of like, you know, indoor fun. Matter of investing in one of these systems. So the initial investment, yeah, I let my stream budget eat that, but so I don't feel that purchase as much, and I would assume that buying a a full kit like this. I mean, this thing was even hard to build. It was actually a fairly good challenge. Buying the frame and everything kind of is ass. But then all of the little like accessories. Oh, I need tires. Let me see where I'm going to buy the tires from. It's like, oh, that's $20. That's not so bad. But then it's like, oh, and wheels. That's $20. It's not so bad. And maybe I should do thinner wheels in front. That's what everybody else seems to do with no real specific justification behind it. I don't really agree with having smaller wheels in front. It's an all-wheel drive chassis. Should have as much rubber to meet the road as possible. But anyway, I might as well try it. That's $20. Oh, softer tires, $20. Oh, servo that's not crap, $20. Well, that was like $50, but a new motor, $20. $20, $20, $20, $20. So having a 3D printer kind of helps in that when I, eat shit like I did with this thing, I can just print up another body and it costs me like 50 cents. The thing is, though, the body is a lot. It's a lot for a 3D printer to do. So I'm going to eat through this stuff if I have errors. If I have errors in my print, it's just going to suck down all this resin. My 3D printer is not spooled up at the moment. That's why I don't have the new body in the new stuff. Work is in a crunch. I hate crunches so much. Been swamped for 2 weeks. Good luck to you out there. Yeah. I invested a little bit to some degree in a company called Tactic. I don't even know what that... Never heard of them. Oh, yeah. Gyro, $20. Radio, $20. Even the motor controller, $20. Although I do wish this was a bit more featureful of a motor controller. That would be nice. But I use the DOS Micro stuff just because it's so tiny, and I like the minimalistic bespoke electronics without casings around them. Because everything's a big plastic box in 1/24th scale. And it's nice to kind of depart from that and have a very minimalistic setup. What's up, Incredimike? Yeah, we don't really have pushes here. We have, which sounds like a bowel movement. But with this stuff, I guess I'll get to a point where I sort of just feel compelled to kind of push myself to work on it a lot. I spent like 2 weeks printing RC car bodies, and I only had one to speak for the whole effort. The hardest part about it was getting the Fusion 360 designed parts, the mounts correct, and I had to add like a drain hole in it. And then like repeatedly this would not print properly. So the way to do it was to put the car at an angle. I still have to watch the video that Nothing's Working posted. He posted a video that is literally this project. Not exactly, but it was close. And it was shelling out a 3D model for RC car purposes. And then 3D printing it. So 1/24th scale. This thing's about the size of a cell phone. So that's the types of screens that these printers have. And so that's why this is also a really good 3D printer project. I don't have much to do with the Goop printer. I'm not printing out. I'm not a pervert. I don't print out anime figurines all the time. So what I do print is little tiny RC car bodies with it. And then someday we'll have an engineering purpose for it. I mean, I think I already printed it, and maybe I need to go find it. But I printed the laser casing that we designed for the water cooling laser, and that thing is watertight, so that's good. Due to the sort of accuracy, and it doesn't need to be that strong. Yeah, I'm not a pervert. Bother 2024. Not everybody is telling the truth all the time. You have to understand that unreliable narrators are a thing. You'll be much more literature savvy. This is you're talking about one big company, actually. Tactics, maybe one of their models of brands, and company Spectrum. Is that one of those like everything companies? Futaba, yeah, I know Futaba. Futaba. Yeah, FR Sky. They do the radio that I have is FR Sky, and it's hackable, and you can even get into the coding of the hack and customize it. We have more troubleshooting to do today. We have 2 channels, 4 channels that aren't doing anything. Ridiculous. It's a lot of life. Yes, sure, yes, sure. I have made a whole lot of not that much progress on everything. I went to the liquor store yesterday and they had Sunny Delight vodka. It was like a vodka seltzer Sunny Delight. And I'm not a big Sunny Delight drinker, but it actually works really well. I should just go buy Sunny Delight. Yeah, it was in cans. I was like, hey, that's cool. And then Cluck J on the Discord said there's actually a Baja Blast and vodka. So I gotta find that. I've still not ever tried Baja Blast. One of the reasons is that type 1 diabetes, and so type 1 diabetes, I'm not getting drinks that aren't diet, and diet is usually fairly limited. There's apparently a diet Baja Blast, and I must find it. I have to look at the grocery store next time I go. I gotta remember to. One of their quadcopters. I did the same thing I did with the RC car project with the quadcopters, and I bought everything piecemeal. And I don't even know if I was doing what you would sanction as being like a proper quadcopter. But it got down to the fact that I needed to tune the thing with PID. And so you need to tie it to like 2 chairs so that it just diet drinks. Water? Yeah, well, water with bubbles in it. That's what I've got. Ugh. This thing didn't come about from drinking diet drinks. No, I drink diet drinks. That's a piece of noodle from lunch. What is that doing there? Oh my God. How long? Oh, it's like sticky. I see. Bubble water is the best water. It's water with just a little bit of drama to it. Just a little bit of drama. Great. I'm going to spot on my shirt. I'll stream, but luckily you guys don't see that far down on me. So I can get away with it, being a disgusting baby when it comes to eating food. I had those bulldog noodles for lunch, and if you do a 6-minute timer on the noodles when they're boiling, like when you finally get the noodles down and they're in the pot and they're boiling, at 3 minutes, maybe a little bit before, crack 2 eggs into it, and then they poach for the remainder of the time that the noodles are cooking. I think there's a diet version that's being sold in stores, a diet Baja Blast. It's nice to have a new diet soda because nobody considers diet sodas. I was actually completely delighted at the fact that we went to some restaurant somewhere in the South, and it was like a good food restaurant. It was the only place we could get vegetables on a road trip. And in the fountain, they had a diet root beer. That's over the moon. I'm over the moon. That sends me. That was so awesome because you just don't see it. Nobody makes diet sodas. And it's what I kind of live off of. Diet Mountain Dew. Yeah, I like Diet Mountain Dew. 1 shot of tequila. It wasn't Mountain Dew originally made to mix with whiskey? I thought I heard that somewhere. The equivalent amount of lime juice, too. Oh, interesting. That makes it a complicated drink. One time I tried making this concoction with a regular Mountain Dew. Holy crap, my blood sugar went into the stratosphere. Over 400. Sometimes your liver is just like, yo, I'm gonna do this for you. And it just pumps glucose into your bloodstream. I've had times where I've had something that's not that carby and my glucose level decides to just go into the stratosphere. It's very frustrating. Somewhat similar to my Sunday pancreas syndrome, where on Sunday you're sitting around and you're eating stuff and you're not realizing it, and your liver just for some reason decides that now is the time to be hyperglycemic. And so I get at least this sticky weekend high that kind of doesn't go away. I haven't heard this song. I usually know Big Jones mixes. Took a lot of insulin to bring me back to normal. Yeah, you have to like I've had times in the past. I think a little bit of DKA kind of kicks in, and then you have to give yourself like a significant amount of insulin over several injections, because you give the injection and 2 hours later you're like, shouldn't that have peaked by now? What's my glucose level doing? And it's doing nothing. It's just plateauing. It's so frustrating sometimes. Mixology stream. I'm not a mixologist. I'm the guy who hits a bunch of the different sodas and then drinks whatever the hell I made. Diet Square or Diet 7 Up. I could see Diet 7 Up working pretty well in that. 7 Up's already lemon lime, right? Yeah, with digestion slowdowns being a thing that's a reality that I have to deal with. It's sure. This is a good song. I should actually listen to this one. Or are we between songs? I can't tell. It's very, very quiet for me. I don't wear headphones for stream. I don't have to because it's only my voice. Like my voice is the star of the show. I should probably check in on my audio at some point soon and just make sure that everything sounds all right to me. But I don't have headphones, and so I need like a monitor of what I'm playing off of the computer, which isn't broadcasting to YouTube. It only goes to Twitch. And so I've got these crappy M Audio monitors. They were on like a deal site 20 years ago. And so I've got the volume very, very low. And so I can kind of hear the rhythm. I can't make much else out of the song. So it's a good song. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. It's my buddy John, and he is FK Productions PHL when he jumps into chat. I haven't seen him much lately, although he probably lurks a little bit, but yeah. He's been DJing for some time with the Philadelphia experiment. I don't know what they're doing these days. I have not been called upon to provide some weird thing for these Philadelphia folks. We built a giant 10 fire cannon system that was used for a little while on the festival circuit. And it was a lot of fun, you know, doing all the backstage stuff and getting to set this system up that worked off of MIDI. It actually used MIDI because with MIDI we could do a piano roll for all of the things going off, and then we could sync it using a mixer, like a DJ mixer. We could have a tap rhythm on it, and then it would sync to the rhythm of the MIDI, and we could play sequences off of it. And so we had these varied sequences that would, and we actually had one of these keyboards that we would play the fire cannons with. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then Big John, being Big John, made a giant version of the fire cannons. That gave us 11 items to coordinate in 4/4 timing. We really should have made 8 fire cannons. 8 fire cannons would have been the way to go. Because when you have 10 and you're in 4/4 timing, it's like, it doesn't math. So, a DMX mixer to control WS2812. I got kind of close to making that a reality. I got close to building one of those. Apparently, it's not that hard to do. But again, the ADHD kind of kicked in. We had the theater globe that was covered in LEDs, and it wasn't really being controlled by anything. It was just some software that I made to do patterns on LEDs. And so we wanted to have something that could control it, and the control of it was going to fall to DMX. So we were going to go to the lighting guy and just be like, see this cable? There's about 1,022 lights on this here. And just be like, go. make something happen. Here's 1,000 lights in a sphere. Good luck. He probably would have just Corsaired it and made it just cycle RGB. Yes, sure, yes, sure. What's up, Celia? Willow is not around, but I have a camera just in case she decides to sleep at the foot of the stairs here. That's her spot. We're kind of creeping in on it. We're sort of creeping in on her spot there. But she hasn't, like, because of just, I guess, the amount of noise that I make when I stream, she doesn't like to park down here during streaming time. It's actually really unfortunate. I wish she had the fortitude to be under the desk behind me, because the days that I don't stream and I'm programming and stuff, she comes downstairs and she curls up at my feet, and it just, my heart explodes every single time. That might be all the cholesterol, but still my heart explodes to have this little dog feel safe sleeping around my feet. Of course, then my feet fall asleep, and when I move a foot, she growls at it, She doesn't like it when I move my feet. I think because there's been a time or two where she's kind of snuck down here and I didn't know, and I had my feet up, and she slept under my feet, and so I suddenly moved my feet and accidentally bump her. Now I have 200 LEDs that need a project. Well, if you've got a lot of tabletop surfaces, you sneak that underneath it. Boom! Now you've got accent lighting on everything. You can do RGB LED accent lighting. I did that during COVID for Amoga streams. That was many years ago to this day. We got troubleshooting to do today. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do, but it is kind of fun. It's basically solving puzzles. Solving puzzles today. Probably should clean off this breadboard. Make an epoxy casted table with 200 LEDs. Yeah! You just have a little proximity sensor, and you can make a coffee table with an expanding light pattern. I was going to do that because they were all the rage. What I wanted to do was use copper tape and a sheet of glass and make a circuit on the copper tape on the sheet of glass and have that have like an optical proxy sensor on it. And then I would put it in between layers of, it would be 2 layers of glass, and the use 80-20 frame to build it. But it was too much of a thing. How do you not understand at this point that this is me not streaming yet? When we work on the project, that's what counts as the stream. I'm not doing what's in the title right now. We're just having the pre-stream where everybody gathers around. No, it's maybe an hour. Maybe an hour before I start working on the stream. Or on the thing in the title. I was thinking about starting up soon. Getting to work, troubleshooting, because I feel lazy having not worked on this for a full 24 hours. You know, a lot of streamers will have a splash page. They'll have a splash page, and they'll just be behind their computer, like just waiting for the timer to run out. So instead of doing that, I actually sit and talk. I'm working on NeoPixel Christmas Garland. Wait, what is that? That's a thing. I should Google that. Garland. Okay. With 200 LEDs, they sell like actual Christmas lights that are NeoPixels as well. No, this isn't a replay. No. Not 200. It's gonna be an eye-piercing garland. Cilia, he's not new. They are not new here. They've been around. What's up, fire safety and more? I need a bucket truck to put Christmas tree lights on. 30 feet. Oh, to put a Christmas lights on a 30-foot tree in my backyard. Oh my God. What we use here to do lights up in a tree is one of those tree trimmers. And the tree trimmer has the mechanism for cutting. That mechanism has a backside, and it can hold on to wire. And so you can hoist it up there with a fiberglass pole and then pull on the thing in order to deposit the string light. And that way I don't have to monitor old people on ladders, because they will fall off of these 1980s ladders that they have and kill themselves. But yeah, the tree pull, the pull mechanism has a pinch point on it that's pretty good for holding on to like wires and stuff. So, you know, you get it up in there and then you pull on the lever and maneuver it out. And then you accidentally let it drop and a saw hits your dad in the face. You can take the saw off. Make a Santa sleigh shell for the RC car. That would be kind of silly. Imagine a sleigh on the ground, not flying. Wait, that's what they do. Wait, hold on. Why is that weird? Why is that weird and not the opposite? Wait a minute. We've normalized the Santa thing for too long. He's been completely normalized in all of his weird behaviors, like a flying sleigh. Yeah, imagine being in like a ground sleigh, like a ground. It's not normal. That's like a weird sleigh. Understand the terminology. I know what an IDE interface is, and I know what a CAD program is. She's okay. So one of the big things about streaming this kind of stuff is that the CAD program that I use and the IDE that I use, I like to use. I like using them. And I've had to come up with every form of justification for why I do, because there's always somebody who uses the alternative that comes into the stream for the first time and goes, why don't you use the one I use? And they vocally let you know this. They're very vocal about letting you know that you're using the wrong CAD program or you're using the wrong IDE. It's a fairly common thing that streamers have to address. So yeah, that's just, yeah, because shut up. That's why. Yeah, exactly. You know, and it's like why do I need to constantly justify this? It's a pressure point, and Celia's joke is leaning on that, like, oh, you don't know stream starts soon, which is another thing that annoys me, that I have to constantly explain to people. So she's goading you on to make me explain things that I've had to explain 5,000 times. That's the joke. That's all. No biggie. What I did for a similar tree I have, I took some 1/2 EMT conduit. What's EMT conduit? Is that like plastic stuff? A 5-in-1 dowel rod that goes in closets to hang stuff, electrical tape, an Allen key, and a bit extender. Oh my god, that is a MacGyver setup if I've ever heard of something like that. I'm innocent. This is unfair treatment. Oh my goodness, law dog, don't take everything super seriously. It's okay. Yeah, Santa sleigh drone. I don't doubt in my mind that somebody hasn't already done that. Hold on a second. We could easily. That's going to end up freezing. My Stream Deck's going to freeze. It froze by the end of the stream yesterday. I don't know why. Santa sleigh. Is that the right one? Is it sleigh or slay? Yeah, it's been done a billion times over. There are no new ideas. Everybody's already done everything. Unless your idea is really boring. Oh my god, that guy. This is the end of the Big John set, so we're getting all of the really good songs. What's up, Alpatro? Yeah, so it's a thing. That's a thing already. It's so weird to see a sleigh not... What, like... Hold on. No, I'm not going to look it up. There's probably a YouTube video where somebody has just reindeer pulling on a sleigh, right? Like it's normally supposed to be, but Santa Claus has been so normalized that we're like, wait, that sleigh's not up in the air. What's going on? It's like the Budweiser Clydesdales pulling a sleigh around, right? Like that's a thing. That's like a normal thing. That's like a normal, usual thing that we shouldn't be weirded out by. Yeah, one of those hobby jet engines. Those things are crazy. Those things is crazy. I really want to get this thing working today. This shouldn't have taken us so long. It's just my shoddy engineering putting together all the wires. While I can work small, it is unfortunately a little bit overcomplicated. I probably need to buy some larger wire than the wire wrap wire in order to put stuff like this together. There's a lot of bad solder joints and stuff like that. Generally, it's an indictment of my workmanship. This is not a complicated circuit. We had it working on the breadboard. It worked when it was over here, at least insofar as we were sort of testing pinpoints on it. I got one? You have one of those RC hobby jet engines? Fast moving air project failed as I forgot. The hot moving air was also warm and melted what I was trying to do. Oh. Using 3 Delta fans. I mean, if you give the air enough space, or if you, I don't know. I wonder if there are jobs where they have had those drone sleighs and had to fly around during night during Christmas. That would be kind of funny to do. Maybe that's what these new airport drones are that all the UFO fanatics are going crazy over. These airport and power plant, not airport, power plant. There's been strange drones hovering over power plants, and they're weirdly angular. They look like a Star Fox enemy. And nobody knows what they are, except maybe, power plant security. I'm sure the power plant knows. Maybe some government cover-up. Who knows? But apparently those have been all the rage lately. Maybe they're slaves. Maybe they're slaves. I want to take this conspiracy to the top. Anyway. I am not a UFO nut. Most of these UFO sightings, if you know a little thing about cameras and lenses and movement, if you know a thing or two, you've watched a video or two that's been doctored, you know the signs. They're subtle sometimes, but other times you get pilot films weird UFO, and they're sitting there like this, filming across their co-pilot, and there's a window, and every time the camera shakes, the UFO moves. Whoa! It's just like an infrared illuminator that's on your phone or the reflection of a light in the background. Sorry. Hope you have a good day in the shop today. Thank you, Cheesy Popcorn. I'm going to try to do better than Wednesday when I crashed my CNC router, bent the head. Baby, cover your ears. You don't need to hear this. You don't need to hear any of this. Just cover your ears. Crashed my CNC router, bent the heck out of my 3D probe, broke an end mill, had to fix a tool changer, had a stepper driver die on me. That is a record amount of things. That sucks. I'm glad you know that they're all problems. Better the problem you know. But yeah, I've wanted to get one of these 3D. I saw who used that. Was it Inheritance? It might have been Inheritance Machining. Had a 3-dimensional probe, so you could hit it from any side, X, Y, Z, and it would display it on the gauge. I want one of those, but they're too expensive. They're like $500. I don't know that kind of money. That's going to come up with all kinds of crap. Hamer is one of the companies that has these 3-dimensional probes. $599. So it's not exactly something that I can fuck with. I can curse, right? It's been 34 minutes. I can curse. I hate the prude laws of the modern internet where I'm not allowed to say a no-no word. I curse like a sailor. Like, well, maybe not as bad as one. That sounds like you should go to bed and hope it's a dream. Sleeping on it never fixed anything. Break a rib? I haven't, but others have here. How's your health these days? Yeah, I'm doing fine. The Omnipod system keeps my A1C like a flat line. It's a matter of programming to pull down the A1C from where it is right now. It's not in a great place, but it's also not in a terrible place. It is pretty much as close to fully automated as it gets. But health-wise, I mean, I've had no real problems. Every now and then, breathing gets a little bit labored, and I don't know what that is. Something about having broken 11 of my ribs in the recent past, it just gets kind of difficult to take, heavy breaths, and I've got kind of a raspy inhale, but it goes away. And it's usually before storms. If the atmospheric pressure's doing its dance, I can have a little bit of trouble. But other than that, it's really nothing to complain about, right? I need to make appointments. I have about 10,000 health appointments that I've been kind of sitting on. I need to do retina, endocrinology, and probably just see my primary just to see if he's still alive. He is significantly older than me, so I don't know if he's still alive. And then there's like, I saw a skin specialist at some point. I probably don't need to follow up with them, but oh, and the blood thing, the iron in the blood thing I need to do, because I had 2 blood draws that were sort of in rapid succession with one another. They're like a couple weeks apart, and so I need to get the doctor to look at the numbers. Did you know that Klein invented linesman pliers? I don't think I have a pair of linesman pliers. I like them though. I want a pair. I want one of those tools, but I know I'll forget about it and crash it down onto the table. Listen, if I had this big ass gauge like this thing is, this would be so awesome to use with the DRO, because you're just like, where is this thing? Point, 0, 0, 0. Now I'm at 0. It's like, oh man, so good. But while this is not expensive in terms of what this thing can do and how accurate it is, this is expensive for the home baller like myself to buy. $600 is a little bit off of the table for me. But oh god, if somebody bought this and sent it to me and it was an inch, I would have the biggest internal conflict going on. Oh god, just do metric. Although the other gauges that I have, I think are in inch. I think they are thousandths, tens of thousandths of inch. Yeah, no, this is not a crazy price for a product like this. This is actually very reasonable. It's just not reasonable for me, the individual, buying it. Oh, you can get it with a spindle on the back already. My milling machine is like it's barely a milling machine. It's mostly a drill press, so it's not really for hardcore tools like this. Although I do have some hardcore tools, it's just not for this. By the way, $600 for this gauge, this three-dimensional gauge, right? Have you looked up what Palmgren charges for this? This is in shit shape, but is it Vice or Vice with an S or a C? Older Palmgren drill. Oh, well, that's actually a reasonable price because it's in shit shape. I found that here, miniature machining. Vintage Palmgren drill press machinist mini vise. $70 in the same shape as the one that I have. New, I found it listed on the site for $600. Yeah, with a C means you're up to no good. I never remember that. What's up, Commander Kellogg's? How you doing? How are you this fine evening for you? This is decidedly not evening here. We're in the middle of the afternoon. Have their prices gone down? Did I just hear whimpering? No, there's no dog down here. She doesn't like to visit while I'm making loud noise. Yeah, like the prices for this stuff is crazy. And so $500 for this thing is not that bad. $600 for that, are they high? No, that's what these things are made. This one being an exemption because it sat in somebody's toolbox for a significant amount of time. But it's not the design, it's not the material. You're not buying it at just over material cost. What you are buying when you spend $600 is the amount of care they took in making sure that these surfaces were amazingly flat and accurate. So this is, over time, I've used this as a soldering tool. This is, of course, not that accurate anymore. I'm not using it as a precision vise, but this is the vise that you put in your big vise on your milling machine. And so you know that if you're indexing off of these surfaces, they're super duper duper accurate. Yeah, and as a machinist tool, they've spent the time and the care to get it to that precision level. That's what you're paying for. Guess I'll be leaving CNC for other folks. Found a video of some guy who put an anvil from different countries in a 100-ton press. The English one broke in two because of the bad design. The Indian one crushed another 20 tons, but the Russia and the US one survived a full 100 tons. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, machining, precision machining is it's magic. It's just magic, but it's expensive magic. But it's not really it's not necessarily a hobby. It's a job. People do it and they make thousands of dollars off of it. They make a living off of it. The saw blade holder for my CNC is $800 and it's just a holder. Oh my God. Yeah, if you want tools that you could trust, not to have like defects and stuff like that, you know, care's been put into them. That's the sort of thing. Oh, how much does the digital one cost? Twice as much. Yikes. And it's illuminated. It's got a backlight. How about that? Oh, it's in Tormach. That's Tormach tooling. Yeah, it's pretty good. These are pretty cool. I would love to get one, but it's too expensive for my... I have reservations about buying 10 op amps at $1 each. So you're saying I shouldn't get the... Oh, what's the AliExpress version? Hold on. What is it specifically? 3D sensor. That's going to come up with other stuff. Well, they call it a 3D taster, and I'm not going to Google that. 3D gauge? Nah. There's got to be a more specific term. A belt tension tool. That's kind of cool. Not this stuff. Dial indicator. Oh, here we go. 56 bucks. And it's a carbon copy of... It even says 3D taster on the label. But it doesn't say Hammond 3D. Wait a minute. This is a direct knockoff. It even has the FH logo on it, but it's a little bit more faded. But 3D edge finder, high mirror, universal detector tool, centering indicator, 56. Oh, wholesale. But 113 is the original price. What the heck? Oh, I don't know if I trust that. Etopod, huh? I mean, maybe I should purchase it just for like a laugh, just to get a laugh out of it. And the picture is a lot worse, but... Oh man, that's scummy. That's scummy. That's scummy. Probably good enough. Well, yeah, for the machining that I do. I was just making a joke. No, it was actually fairly interesting to look it up on AliExpress. Tangentially to precision machining, I learned of gauge blocks. Yes, I've got a couple. I've got a set of not very precision gauge blocks. Yeah, then you can slide them together. I think Veritasium, or no, was it? Who did a video on them? Somebody did a video on them. But the gauge blocks I have, you can kind of do that too. If you slide them together, they are so finely made and ground that the metal, the small forces in the metal cause it to somehow bond in like a minor way, because the molecules are not very spaced out. They're smashed up together. And apparently there's some other small force that's grabbing them. So if you slide them together too much, or you get finger oils on there and it kind of displaces the rust prevention oil that's already on the gauge blocks, you can actually scrape them and have little bits of material roll up and start to destroy the precision of the thingamajig of the gauge block. Get them to send you a $600 version so you can do a comparison video. Look, man, I emailed Bamboo Labs and I haven't heard back from them, so I'm not that cool. I'm not that cool. I think we get an inflated sense of bother's worth by the fact that I've partnered, and I really just under the line. I like barely, my toe poked over the line, and maybe somebody at Twitch went, "Huh, that's interesting content," and they partnered. But yeah, the barely popular. I'm super thankful for you guys finding my stream. Well, yeah, the saga of building and rebuilding my Creality printer. I still have in those 100 videos that I haven't uploaded yet. I have my second redo of the Creality CR10S. Or, yeah, that was before I was on YouTube. So it's right up near the end is when I make that brilliant looking control box with the something like $700, $800 power supply, the 24-volt power supply in my 3D printer. It's an industrial din rail one, and it makes the most exquisite fancy voltage. It hits 24 and it stays there, and it basically turns your money into 24 volts. I don't know. It's the best power supply that I had. I was like, you know what, 3D printer, I need that to be the good stuff. If Bambu Labs sends me a printer, I'd be tempted to take apart the CR10S permanently, and I would have to reclaim that power supply and perhaps put it on Burn the Subs. Burn the Subs has my second most expensive power supply, and it's a Vicor unit. So it's super compact. It might make a squealing noise when there's no quiescent current being drawn. So I might need to hook it up to like a heater, like just like a resistor or something, so that it doesn't squeal. I'm not sure about what to do about that. My 3D printer is pretty much in a place where I don't have to think about it. That's it. It's probably going to break in some spectacular fashion, but I need to make another one of those little pins for the washing machine wheel, because one broke. So, Forest? What? I've got these messages here that Ring and Forest. What am I doing with these messages? If you're making a singular comment on something that I said at the moment that I say it, I can guarantee you that I won't know what you're talking about. Because by the time that message goes through, you are seeing a bother that existed 4 seconds ago. Potentially. I don't know. Some people have very low latency and they can make these comments right on the fly. But in the moment, I'm thinking about what I'm saying. Not that much, actually. But and by the time I get to the end of the sentence, if there's a singular word comment, it might as well have been you walking into my shop, opening the door, and saying, ring, and then leaving. Just randomly. There's no correlation to anything that I was saying. So give me just a little bit of context, and it'll go a long way. I thought my internet was really fast. The video signal gets encoded, it gets shat onto some server, and then that other server squishes out a turd that lands on your computer, and it takes time. It takes just a little bit of latency time. I heard a fish has a 3-second memory. I'm not logging everything that I'm doing today. I'm gonna forget things. Oh, that's called ringing when you put the gauge blocks together like that. It's not ringing. I would call it sliding. You just say sliding. You don't have to make up a term for it. But that's interesting that there's a term for it. Yeah, it's describing the thing with a gauge block. All right. It's a weird one, though. I didn't know it had a name for the specific thing. That's to see if you could get the new Creality KR2 printer. Big print plate, color changing. Listen, I can ask, but it requires me to write up a whole email, and I will not use AI to do that kind of stuff. I would rather actually handwrite an email. I know how to write. You know, it's like I could fire off an email to these guys and they'll just ignore it. I'm just not popular enough. The numbers don't translate very well. And on YouTube, what do I get? Like 300 views? Eh. That's true. People like to name stuff. But it's the act is a slide. I'm sliding 2 pieces of metal together. But I guess specifically, if I'm trying to get them to stick, it's called ringing. Hello, floofy-haired man. Yes, that's me. Yeah, so I got this goop. And I'm hoping this goop makes this look a little bit more like a real car or whatever. I don't know what was up with yesterday when I was saying Lancia a lot, and everybody wanted me to say Lancia again. I feel like it was an accent thing, but not everybody wants to say Lancia. Lancia. It's Lancia. Here's all you need to send. It better be a picture of a cute puppy. Why is there an age check on that? Why is there an age check on this? Oh my God, it's so explicit. Oh my goodness, I can't believe there was an age check on that. That's just me every day of the week. GGAI. Okay, so the problem is, this is where I normally keep drinks, so I keep going to grab this to like take a sip of it. I'm gonna put this somewhere else. This needs to go like way over here. This is going somewhere far, far away where it can't hurt us. Yeah, maybe just the prevalence of skin tone in the image causing it to hit up against all the porn filters. Because people like to look at porn on the internet. So how did father die? Listen, I've gotten 3D printer resin in my mouth, and not an insignificant amount, because I didn't put on gloves. Resin 3D printing is very clean until it's not. You put all these precautions in place, all these systems, and you practice. It's a good idea to practice getting the thing off of the build plate and putting it in. What I do is I put it in a wire basket that sits in a cardboard box, and that's my transportation back to the other part of the basement where the ultrasonic cleaner lives. The ultrasonic cleaner is very loud and raspy, so I keep it way in the back corner of the basement where I can close the door on it, and I don't have to listen to that fucking thing. But then it goes into that with a bunch of alcohol. And I actually tried to use magnetic tape to seal the lid, because it just contains a bunch of like free alcohol with plastic in it, until that no longer cleans the prints. And then I drain the whole thing into the bottles, take the bottles outside, put an open piece of Tupperware and just pour it in there and let it dry out and be exposed to UV. So that whole process of cleaning ends with the thing coming out of the alcohol. I can wash it in the utility sink, snap off all the stuff, and then put it under UV light to further cure. If something goes wrong in that process, resin gets everywhere. It drips, stuff like that. I have silicone mats down on a table that I'm using in order to keep resin from getting all over the place. When the silicone mat gets enough drips on it, I'll take it outside and let it cure. Once you get the process down, it's not that hard, and the things that you print are like insanely accurate. With this printer though, I go, is the bed clean? Whatever, and hit print. And then it prints something out, and then I just kind of sit there and I go, and a little, spit bubble drips. And then at some point when everything's cooled off, the print that I've printed goes, and it comes off of the printer clean. And then I go, that's clean enough, and I hit print again, and something else prints out. Like, I don't do any steps. I just hit print. So there's one step, and that's get your print. Resin takes a lot of stuff. It takes a lot of procedure in order to get your super duper duper accurate prints. I mean, you can print stuff with amazing detail. Like, it's blurry, but that's not because of my printer. Yeah, when that process goes wrong, stuff gets everywhere. And I had that process go wrong, and it's tough to wash off because it's alcohol soluble, not water soluble. So water will bounce off of it. And so I had an event where I wasn't wearing gloves, cleaned it up, got everything super nice. And then later that night, I bit off my fingernail because I am a fingernail biter. And so I bit my fingernail, and there was a nice little bolus of resin sitting under my fingernail. I have a scrub brush for fingernails at the sink now. Did I give insulin for lunch? I think I did. Yeah, okay, good. We're only just topping off there. God, I'm so pissed off with CVS. I could just go out and... We shouldn't finish that thought. I am so pissed off at CVS, though. I go on their website and I say, hey, fill my prescription for insulin. And then nothing happens for 2 days. And I call them, and they go, oh, the prescription for Novolog? And I'm like, yeah, why are you Canadian? And they're like, oh, I don't know why I'm Canadian. What's this all about? But so I talk to them, and they go, oh, yeah, we'll have it this afternoon. Were you going to have it before? No, because it's been 3 days. Unbelievable. It's like I just have to call. And they're so against you calling. They put everything in the phone menu is designed to inconvenience you to the point of not calling them. And they have a new system now. They have a new system where you call and leave a message, and then they call you back, which I actually kind of prefer. I think that's better. I think they can get to stuff in a timely manner, and they don't have to have CVS is overrun with everything. It's ridiculous. I'm waiting on a prior auth for the ADHD meds. They've approved it every year. You know, I'm just kind of praying that it gets approved again. And then I can finally get my meds, and then I can finally do the boring stuff, like building a menu for the for this device that we're building. That's the kind of thing that I super low prioritize when I don't have my meds. It's unfortunate. I've been forcing myself to work on it, but did you see the documentary? Which one is that? I think I've heard of it, but I should probably watch it. We gotta spray you down with a hose sometime. No, that won't work because the plastic is not water soluble. What you need to do is bathe me in alcohol, and I've probably had too much alcohol, to be honest. I need to back off on that stuff. They had it was vodka in Sunny D, just at the store. It was just right there. Sunny D. It was awesome. It tasted really good, and it didn't blow up my glucose levels. I might get it again. Apparently, there's Baja Blast one, too. So that's what I'm doing to prevent myself from getting all full of resin. Drink epoxy, never shit again. Ugh. I don't think the doctor would approve of you drinking that. Well, I don't see MD after the tinkering, okay? I see EE, that's not MD. So I don't trust you. I'm gonna drink resin. Just to spite you. My MakerForge printer, I clean the surface each time. Other printers, I clean if it's not sticking after 3. Like 10 prints and it's still sticking. I have the CR10, what is it? It's like a Teflon coated piece of glass with little tiny circles of glass. And those little tiny circles of glass hold onto the print brilliantly. And it just doesn't need to be cleaned. I almost never clean it. If I'm in a bind and it's not sticking, and turning up the temperature doesn't fix that, because that's all I do. I just turn up the temperature. I go up. Everybody says, lower the temps. No, I turn them up. If none of that stuff works, I spritz it with Windex and a paper towel, and that's it. That's it. You know, you just make sure there's no dust, and it just works every time. I don't know. I've gotten my printer to that point. Now, when it comes to details on the CR10S, that's the printer that's over my shoulder here. When it comes to details, it sucks at that. It's terrible. I print for strength. My surfaces look pretty good because of the tuning that we've done to the printer, but my bridging is abysmal. My overhangs are abysmal. It's hot PETG. The prints can be run over by a car and they'll be fine. The car would probably pop its tire, but it's also super repeatable. Now, if I get something like a Bamboo Labs printer, I'm sure I'll have the same exact results. I'll set the Bamboo Labs thing and I'll just, on a pull-down menu, I'll select PETG and it'll probably just work. I could do a temperature tower, and then I could see, you know, oh, that's the ideal temperature. Boom, set it, done, forget it. The amount of work that I've put into tuning up Clipper on this printer, it's an incredible amount that the entry hobbyist into 3D printing does not need to do. For us electronics people, it's nice to get really nice stuff and put it on your printer and then be able to just tell the printer, this is what you are now. And it just does it. You know, well, no, it doesn't just do it. You tell it, this is what you are now. I need to do a test and make sure that I'm getting ideal circumstances and tweak the settings in order to get it there. It's just a little bit of tweaking that it takes to get something like that perfect. We're also paying bottom dollar for really good stuff. But if you just take a sack of money and you throw it at Bamboo Labs, so they go, pooh, and then you knock them over, you get a printer that can do what we do perfectly. Yeah. Use super glue to make sure it sticks. Hell no. I once got one of those plastic sheets and I tried to print the PETG on it and it fucking bonded. There was no way to get that off. It's almost like they want money for doing nothing. No, they made a good printer. Unless we're talking about something else. My Mark Forged printer. Oh, is that Mark Forged? Been saying that wrong. All right, let's start. Let's get started here. Pull the scope up. Get rid of start soon. That's over here. Set up this one. And I think that's the end of the mix. Oh, it is. Pause. Oh, that was a different song. Oh, it went over to a new song because the Big John mix ended. Oh, that's why it sounded a little different. There's a lot of vocals. Hi, welcome. It's me, the guy who builds stuff that doesn't work. I don't know what happened between the solderless breadboard and the actual perforated prototyping board. A lot of little mistakes happened, I guess. Oh, you were talking about, okay. A lot of little mistakes happened. And so our thing doesn't work. And it's actually a fairly simple test to get this thing working again. All we do is tell it to output a bunch of waveforms, and then it outputs a bunch of waveforms. So we were getting through it. We were testing the last channel, and we finally got it to work. We had a resistor change because we weren't getting the proper amplification. I went in the wrong direction. I used 100 kilo ohms on the entry resistor, and what you want to do is you want to lower that entry resistor because you're boosting the signal. You want a big signal coming in. You don't want to current limit that too much. 100 is a good, what do you call it? 100 is a good unity gain amplifier in like modular stuff. We're using plus minus 10 volts is really kind of our de facto standard for audio signals. And I want a device that'll output 6 audio signals so that I can use the mixer and other stuff. I mean, we can turn outputs into gates. We can turn them into whatever we want. That's going to require a whole menu system and stuff, but it'll be the sort of first steps into completing that module testing module. Once I kind of know what the hardware looks like and what's acceptable and stuff like that, we can go over to a PCB design, and then I can make it just kind of fit into this little rack setup that I have. And then I'll have a module testing module. I just need to figure out the UI. That's the hard part. But so proof of concept, I'm going to the perf board one because we have other projects that need multi-signals. And it's a good opportunity to kind of flesh out a little bit of what that thing's going to finally be. I sort of left it up to the nebulous, like, let the end user figure out what they want out of this thing, because I know sort of the types of stuff that they'll want to output. But I left it sort of like, oh, I'll just let you assign every channel to every channel and do whatever you want. They do that in cars now. They're like, oh yeah, the amount of feedback from the steering wheel, you guys just figure it out. Oh, the heat, you can configure how your heat works. It's like, no, I'm paying you to do that for me. Don't you have departments that are responsible for setting the user experience? I found this out in one of those new Volvos. It's like you can't quite settle on the right heat setting. They left it all up to you. I don't know. Anyway, the point is there's a lot of programming that I have to do in order to make the module testing module. In the meantime, I need something that's able to output a bunch of signals. So you don't have to do anything except hit the print button with the Bamboo Labs. Yeah, that's what I assume too. You have to tell it what filament you want, or you've loaded in, but then it just kind of does everything for you. It's pretty cool. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to talk positively about Bamboo Labs because they haven't sent me a printer. They're sending everybody else printers. So, where are we with this thing? Well, let me power it up and I can show you. First off, we are converting 85% of the power that we're putting into this thing into heat. Why is nothing happening? What is this? What is going on? Oh, it didn't like the quiescent? What's going on? Nothing changed. Wait. Huh? Did you break? Did you break? What did you do? Maybe it doesn't like the inrush. There it goes. Now it works. I guess there's a sequence to getting this thing to work. So what we're doing right now is converting a lot of electricity into heat because this thing is up at its limits. It's producing 3.3 volts, but it is being tasked with everything it's got, which is a livable condition. I'm okay with this. I just wouldn't want to put this into like a modular synth and leave it overnight. We get signal, main screen turn on, right? So that's a 10 volt peak to peak on that channel. That's this one right here. The next channel, what happened to you? Still have waveform output? We do. Screen just got a little manky. Up here, we should have a signal. We don't. No other channel. Well, this one's not plugged in, so these two are the next two. and there's no signal at all. That is messed up. Can you unmess yourself up? No, it's not. I can hit reset here. It'll probably come back. Seems to me that this thing is a little bit prone to getting static electricity issues. But then again, this isn't a professional setup. This is just my initial testing. So some kind of ish is going on with this thing. We got to figure it out. Now, when we looked at the signals coming in, we can see that there is, so this is I2S. I2S is an audio I2C. I2C is inter-integrated circuit, IIC. And because we're freaking nerds and engineers, we put the two I's together and we square it, and it becomes I2C. It's I times C, which is just ick. But anyway, I2C, inter-integrated circuit communication. It's a standard. It's a standard. It has some weird timing stuff. You have a serial data line and you have a serial clock line. Well, they decided, hey, I would love to have something like I2C for audio, so I can send high-quality audio quickly to an output driver. And so what we're using in this setup is I2S, integrated. I don't know. I wasn't supposed to click there. The mouse is the way. Hold on. Let me get this over here. So I2S, we have B clock. I forget what that stands for. Data in. So it's the SCK is not necessary. We have BCK, digital in, and LR clock. So in order to do left and right audio, you get an LR clock, and that's going to look like, let's put this on the screen. That's going to look like a slightly smaller digital waveform. Hold on, let's zoom in because we're on the blue channel right now. So, well, 200 millivolt. This should be 3 volts. Let's just check. Let's check over here. So the D clock is coming from over here. These are the different channels. Oh no, BCK is coming from over here. It's one of these. Okay, let's look at it over here then. Why is the amplitude of my signal so small? BCK. We'll zoom in on time. Look at it over time. There we go. So that's doing B clock kind of stuff. It's overshooting a little bit, but that's just kind of how voltages work. D in, we got some kind of data there. It's a periodic signal. It's not a regular clock. It's kind of cool. LR clock. It's a slower clock, but it is regular like one. If we zoom out a little bit, we can see. Why is this thing? Oh, because it's on channel 1. Hold on. Let's trigger on channel Uno. Type edge, coupling DC. Where's channel? Source. Channel 2. Damn it. Source. Channel 2. Go. Close. I'm trying to hit the Xbox. Close. There you go. Oh, and then we got to adjust it. Donk. There you go. All right. So yeah, that's the LR clock. This is digital data rolling in, little packets. And then this is the clock that coordinates everybody else. This thing is getting all the data it should. And we see that there's a signal there. We see that there are packets rolling in. So we know that this thing is getting all of its appropriate communications. Technically, I should see a waveform, a waveform. I should see a waveform here, and I do not. Where is my waveform? It is not there. What about over here? Oh, this is the one that is working. Wait a minute, this one's actually working, or should be working. Why am I not seeing a waveform? That's a little weird. Oh, hold on, I'm getting a call from medical stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez. Banana phone. They called me and put me on hold. I'm not fucking standing for that. Shut the fuck up. No. No, you don't call me and put me on hold. What the fuck was that? What is my time worth? Like, absolutely fucking dog shit. That's so ridiculous. I can't believe they fucking called me and put me on hold. You guys saw I had hold music going, and I completely naturally went into that as if nothing was wrong. I can't fucking believe that. Ooh, ooh, they fucking called me and put me on hold. Who does that? Anyway, okay, back to testing digital lines. Jeez. I'm nettled. I'm super nettled from that. I think this thing generates its own clock. I'm not totally sure about that. But, like, am I getting the output? Hold on, plug in the output. Yeah, I'm still getting the output. It just, we can't see it over here for some reason. I don't know why we would, I mean, we're referencing off of the same ground. Oh, you know what it is? This thing makes its own ground. I think this thing has like a, no, they're all, this ground, we determined last time that this ground is connected to this ground. So it's all referencing the same stuff. Why would I not see it over here? Instead, I see this. Maybe because the time scale is, yeah, maybe it's a, but it's in like, I don't get it. Anyway, the point is we're going to check for the digital signals over here. So here we have B clock. That looks about right. D in, nothing is happening. LR clock, we get. So D in, there's something wrong with DIN. And it's not here. So yellow wire down to, oh boy, down hither, thither. I watched that D&D movie again recently. It is a very good movie. There's a DN. Do we get continuity between the pins now? Because I think something may have gone wrong with the wire. Turn that off. I'm super mad right now. Who does that? Medical insurance companies. You're exactly right, Commander Kellogg. They have such little worth of your time. They say, what does this meatbag want with us? Let's call him. And then put them on hold. I've never been so fucking nettled. It's, ooh. And what do I get to do about it? Nothing. That might have been a call to approve my ADHD medicine, to be honest, and I probably should have stayed on hold as the sniveling little jerk that I am. But like they'll also send me a letter to say that it was approved. But I mean, they called me and put me on hold. Like, I'm allowed to be mad at that. It's just, maybe I don't get my ADHD med now. God, they're like fucking gangsters. What if something were to happen to your medication? They come in here and they break my plant. Gallivanting around. Oh, what is your time worth to you, sonny boy? Maybe something happens to your prescription. Maybe we didn't approve it all along. Put money in the bag. Fuck. God damn. That really pisses me off. All right, so we're checking between points on pin 9. I can't see this, so I need to put it on the microscope. I need to put it on the microscope. The macroscope. Something. I don't know. That caught me so off guard. I probably should have listened to what they had to say, to be honest, because, yeah, I'm waiting on that pre-authorization of medication that I've taken since I was 15 years old. But this medical company is actually really good. They're actually really good at their jobs. So, okay, so as to not baffle us, unless it's on pin 5. It's nice when your supposition is correct. The pin is not pinning. Let's just double check. Yeah, so no data is getting from microcontroller to pin. So we've got to look at these here. Namely the yellow one. I think it's actually this one. But it looks like it's totally fine. How else would it be in there? Let's just resolder it just to be sure. Of all the things. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Why would they work like that? What, like, if you, oh wow, that is just not connected. Okay, I see now. I see now the error of my ways. Apparently I just straight up didn't solder that one. Ow, I just drove my finger into one of my sharp probes. These things are very sharp. Like, shouldn't the call system exist in order to connect the agent to the person immediately? Because you have somebody placing a phone call, not just this monstrous autonomous system. Just baffling. I guess this is where we are as a society, huh? Insurance company dials you up just to say, fuck you. Hello? Hi, I'm here with the insurance company. We just wanted to say, fuck you. And then they hang up. And you're like, oh, okay. That's a totally reasonable conversation to be having this day and age. All right, I think that does it for that. We at least had a nice smoking gun there. And let's just see what happens when we turn this thing on now. So plug it in. Turn it on. Outputting woofers. And plug into these channels. It is waveform. It is I, Joe Waveform. Dun dun dun. That one as well. All right, let's bunch time up again. Pump up the jams. Pump it up. Look at you, reverse sawtoothing all over my scope. It's not stable because our trigger's on the wrong channel. So I wish I could quickly flip these. Or have like a multi-channel trigger that just decides which one it wants to the key off of. Now I need units here, although we do have it in the sidebar. So yeah, 4 volts max, 8 volts P2P. And so now we need to pay to play, and we need to adjust it using potentiometers. I don't have any programming in the screen. I would like to get this thing to be able to like display the waves that are coming out and stuff. So an oscilloscope originally is a device that essentially scans horizontally across a screen. And when you scan horizontal, the original oscilloscope is an electron beam. Actually, the original oscilloscope is a piece of pen on plotting paper. It's a pen on a piece of plotting paper that wiggles back and forth with voltages. We upgraded the scopes, and now, well, at that point, we had a vacuum tube with phosphorescent on the front. And with that electron beam going over the phosphorescent, you have a pertinence of display. So as that beam of electrons moves across that phosphor, it glows for just a little bit. And if you're going over the same spot over and over again, it starts to look like a line. If you coordinate the speed of the thing moving back and forth, and the voltages you're getting in are controlling the vertical, so you have time on the horizontal, you have voltage on the vertical, you can sync everything up with, you have to have like a multi-dial with a very fine tune, but you can sync it up so that your waveform, your non-periodic waveform, your waveform that's the same every time, can basically move over itself. And so that the beam, rather, the electron beam, will be hitting all the same stuff over and over again in coordination. And so your waveform, instead of looking like 5,000 different waves, it actually will look like a line. If you don't have that coordination, things get messy pretty quick. And so your waveform may look like this. It may look like any variation of that, actually. That can be moving across at an extreme speed. I used to use old vacuum tube oscilloscopes, and they were pretty neat. What they added to the oscilloscope is a trigger. Now, the trigger can be very complicated. Look at all these options. I have rising wave, falling edge, either rising or falling. I can tune it off of different signals and stuff. This is all digital age stuff. Originally, the trigger is just a way to coordinate your waveform to fall at the same place every graph. And so that does the timing. So I basically have a large adjustment of how many milliseconds I'm looking at on the horizontal, and then the scope coordinates the signal coming in. It gets it into phase, and it sort of aligns it with a little bit more precision. It says that part of the wave I want to fall on the same spot every single time. And that's how that works. Yeah, yeah, I guess. Once I get that red node working, I can make stuff happen with that, with the meow. I can make stuff in the physical world. I can make devices that'll make the noise if I want to. So that's what trigger does, and that's how an oscilloscope works. That's what we're looking at is over time, the changing of the voltages. Now, the frequency of this is something like, I think we programmed it to be the C note. I think it's C2 or 3. It's like 200 hertz or something. I just use the auto set feature on my oscilloscope. That messes up all kinds of stuff on these scopes nowadays. I guess it's probably fine, but I mean that'll get you to a voltage div and a time div that are kind of like a little bit more accessible. 250 is middle C. What do we set it at? We set it at a joke frequency. Let's see when they find out. Little did they know. Hold on. That was probably the pre-approval of my ADHD medication. Godad, you just missed just like a bother moment. I don't know if that should be clipped or not, but my medical company, who I'm okay with, they're actually really good. They're the public medical plan in Pennsylvania, and they're actually really good. They always, get my stuff done, and they approve stuff that my doctor wants me to get. I just have to deal with the skullfuckery or skullduggery. What are those phrases of CVS getting in the way? But so I get a phone call, and I'm like, guys, it's my medical company. It's probably about insulin. And so I mute, and I pick up the phone, and they go, an agent will be with you shortly, and start playing hold music. They called me and put me on hold. What? Anyway, the frequency that we're sending to this thing is 261.63. I guess that can be a float. This is why I need floats in that menu system. I'm really hoping that was the approval of my ADHD med, and I don't know if they will call me back. So I don't know what I can do here. I think I need to wait for a letter to come in the mail. Because I then call CVS and tell them that they can fill my prescription. And then they'll go, we don't have it in stock. And I go, shut the fuck up. Just do your job. Jesus fucking Christ. Get it in stock. Stop fucking around with me. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. All right, so we have waveforms coming out. Now I need to adjust the op-amp circuit, the amplifier circuit, in order to get the appropriate peak-to-peak value, which should be 10 volts peak-to-peak, and a Vmax of 10, but yeah, 10 volt peak-to-peak, essentially. So this one is the left channel. I believe the left channel is the upper one. I should get the label maker and label these. So there's our VPP of 10. I'm going to do, these are 25 turn potentiometers, so we can get this pretty accurate. Although it will drift with temperature, just because of the effect of this resistor is pretty poignant. And when you lift the tool off of the pot, the value changes a little bit. If I really wanted to go super precise, I would have put something like a 1K pot in here and then had other resistors surrounding it. Have one on each side. You should have waited. I probably should have waited, and then I could have gotten my ADHD meds. And then I would actually have something to kind of get me to work on this screen software. I should label these L and R. Maybe I'll just use marker. Oh, this is my special marker. This is guys, there's a pill. There's a pill for this. There's actually a pill for this. They have now. You don't have to. Okay, let's Just use my weirdo marker. I did this in order to, I guess, mark something I was machining. I don't know if that's really going to stick around. Oh, that's the worst L that I've ever drawn. Oh, that one's the worst R that I've ever drawn. I'll use a label maker later on this. Hindsight is 2020, but 2020 was COVID. So it doesn't count. All right, the other sawtooth wave. Bonk. Oh, that's a square wave. That's a very nice square wave, actually. It's a very nice square wave you have there. Very well done. Nice square wave. It doesn't overshoot very much. Good square wave. It's not quite a tune your oscilloscope square wave. Oh no, here it comes. He's going to shave off the complement. Why can't you just compliment your electronics like a normal person? Why do you always got to shave off the compliments a little bit? You always got to say something nasty after a compliment, huh? Always nasty, all these games with you. You know, I just want to have one normal conversation for once in my life. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you guys. Come on, where's my 10-0? Ow! There it is. What I'm doing is I'm looking at these numbers over here. Hold on, where's my pointer? I'm looking at the numbers over here. These two down here are our math functions. And the math functions allows me to get a volt from peak to peak, which will be a little bit overshooting because you can see how it kind of overshoots the voltage value. And then a V max. The V max, of course, being the positive voltage. I could get an RMS value, but I don't really know. No self-bullying. It's just a common argument. Okay, so there's that waveform. The square wave and the triangle wave are both there, and they are in good shape. They are healthy waves. So now we can power down. This is good, because we weren't having this kind of progress before. It turns out the D-in line just simply was not soldered to the microcontroller. I had spicy ramen noodles for lunch, so my burps are subnuclear, but only just barely. So that burp right there was a challenge. That one was, I'm gonna drink some liquids and just all right. So get the third driver. That was very carefully put in a special location where it was stored very carefully. We'll get that out of its special storage location. Sure, it's no dirt's on it. Now let's get that back in here, and then we can power this thing up with the third driver in. And our poor voltage regulator is going to be screaming. It is just a spare voltage regulator, though. It's just something that I found. But it's definitely not a leave your device on overnight kind of voltage regulator, because this whole area is getting very warm. I will not be soldering a penny to it. If I can find those little heat sinks from when I did that machining, I should probably solder one of those on. But I don't know where they went. There's a couple heat sinks over there. That's for the LED. Okay. And there's, of course, this one just sitting right here from the router, but this one's better at holding little bits of circuit boards. It's actually kind of cool. I like that one. That one's kind of neat. Oh, wait, here's one. This one's more for, God, the FR Sky. This is a, no, what is it called again? Let's put it on the microscope. This is such a cool motor controller, and I really wish I had the time. SkyStar's Talon. The BL32 128K. So this has a BL32 in it, and you can use their programmer in order to customize how this motor controller works. But this thing is made for drones, but it's able to do 40 amps. So it would actually be a really good motor controller to put in the RC car. It's much smaller and much lighter than this big one. The problem is, and of course it also has a white LED on it. Problem is, I don't have the chops. I don't have the programming chops to make a program for the BL32 that does RC car three-phase motors. They're treated a little differently, the way that you reverse trigger it and stuff. We have done that with the with the ATtiny 85. We've programmed an entire RC car controller on it, And because I didn't buy the right transistors, the whole project just tanked and I got mad. That's when I bought this. It was a lot of work to do that, a lot of programming work, and we did it pretty well. I mean, it's a nice program. It just wrong transistors, and it's also an H-bridge controller. But if I had instead spent my effort on this $14 bucks for 4 of these things, and made it into a good RC car controller, I don't know, there would be a significantly smaller amount of weight on here, and I would be even more customizable. By the size of it, it'll do 40 amps for a couple minutes and then something burns. I don't know. We haven't tested it for an extended amount of time, but I mean, this is supposed to be in drones, and I guess there's probably supposed to be airflow over the over this giant chunk of aluminum they put on there. It would be really cool though to get this thing working in RC cars. That thing, by the way, the RC car, it only lasts like 15 minutes. It's not that long lasting. The battery drains quite quickly. But yeah, this would have been cool to do. I do have a little heatsink here, but I can't really attach it to the voltage regulator without a clip, because this is aluminum. I need a copper one, which I don't think there is one up here. Oh, this thing is fascinating. You guys don't know of this thing. This used to work before I was a dumbass. This thing is a sample from the 90s, a Panasonic USM 40D motor. What this is, not just a normal kind of motor. This thing was connected to this big controller that had all these complicated controls. I wanted to do something with the controller. I should have left it together, because what this is an example of is of an ultrasonic motor. There's nothing more to this motor than these little guys and this little guy. And I suppose what's going on in here is this is induced ultrasonically, and it sort of shuffles the motor around, and it makes this thing spin at a low rate. And it does it silently. And the reason, well, I don't know precisely how ultrasonic motors work, but I do know that there's 2 of them inside of this camera lens. And if I can take over the camera lens software, if we resurrect that ancient project, I could have focus and stability control of this lens remotely. Induced voodoo, yeah, it's crazy stuff. You have to look it up for a more intelligent explanation, because I barely understand how it works either. Bonk. Yeah, so that's some, I mean, if we had gotten that communication to work with the camera lens. Okay, we got nothing again. Nothing on both channels, so we check the digital inputs. Digital inputs. Let's check. Check the digit ins. Get a ground reference. This over here. The clock. Check. The in. Check. The clock. Also check. Also check. The in. Double check. What about gurgle? Well, there's no evidence of L or R in any of these for some reason. Oh, maybe there is. All right, so why do you not output? There's some kind of a short down here. This is L. No, actually, wait. Those are no. Okay, hold on. These are huh? Where the hell am I? Okay, wait. This is LR. Yeah, so that's LR, and then these are the inputs. Nobody looks shortened. This is 3.3 volts. No, this would be 3 volts. Nope, that's a digital signal. Digital signal. Yeah, we got all this up top. Huh. Nothing appears to be of concern. I don't think it's just like a tuning thing. So we've got all of our digital signals coming in. But when we test up top, instead of getting a cromulent signal like that, we get nothing. Good day to you, sir. try for, nope. Over here, we've got all of our digital signals coming in. Those go to the chip. Chip outputs over here. And we should see something. But we ain't. All right, so what jumpers are set on this thing? I'll turn off the whole system. Bloop. Owie. Run a scalpel blade between the rows sometimes if I can't see the short. Yeah, that might be something that I need to do. BLDCs, even air-cooled, will have a max current for a given amount of time. Else the enamel starts to degrade. Oh, yeah. When you get too much heat in your motor. Small motor and the ESC will both pull 40 amp peaks for high-speed maneuvers, but continuous one or both will just die. Look, it's not going to be run at that full thing all the time. It'll be fine with a little RC car motor. Because it's fine with a chopper motor. Did they put a 1 ohm resistor on this? Looks like they did. Huh. Yeah, it's not really going to use that much current. So our jumpers are the same, it seems. Although they used, God, look at that. They used the 1 ohm resistor. It's so weird. Cursed. H1L, H3L. They didn't know that you're just supposed to put a big blob of solder on it or a little piece of wire. Yeah, I think that motor controller would do just fine with a little hobby motor and, you know, zipping around in an RC car. Although it won't get the airflow that it normally would. So it might actually get very hot. But I think for the duration of a typical RC car battery, I think it'll be totally fine. Best PoE2. How are people, what are people saying about PoE2? I know some streamers have gone completely missing. They're like, I'm not streaming today. I'm going to be playing Path of Exile too. FK Productions tried to get me into Path of Exile, and I'm glad he didn't, because there's a lot of things that I've done, a lot of experiences that I've had in life that aren't sitting behind my computer. Yeah, it's power over Ethernet too. It's pretty ballin'. They loved it so much that they made another one. Servers are not working, nobody can get in. How Path of Exile-y of them. That's very Path of Exile-y. PoE is Diablo for masochists. I mean, Diablo is Diablo for masochists. I mean, it's just that kind of thing. Alligator clips. What I'm going to try to do is pump the signal from over here into the op amp and make sure that our op amp is working. In which case, it might be a dead board. I'm not sure. Yeah, that sounds like a typical thing. Disco House, you missed it. I got a phone call from my medical company, from my medical insurance provider. It's likely about the pre-approval of my ADHD medication, which is, again, why I'm not doing any programming, because I can't be asked to do it. ADHD flaring up on me. It doesn't flare up. But anyway, so they call me, and the call goes as follows. Please hold for an agent, and then hold music. And it's like, you called me and put me on hold. Like, is there some stat that they're trying to boost? Like, we have 10,000 people on hold right now. That's how awesome we are. Like, what are you doing? Who does that? You called me. And put me on hold. What am I worth to you? Oh, I need clips. This isn't going to work. I need clips. Well, I got clips. Actually, I don't have as many clips as I could. Oh, no, I do. The logic analyzer was all clips, so I have like 1 billion clips now. But I don't know if I have the female-to-female connector that I need for this. I'll use these. These are all Easy Hook brand. They're pretty good, but the DuPont connectors slip out of them pretty easily. Yeah, it's like I got this one. It goes to this side. Actually, you know what? You know what? You know what? Oh no, that's a, yes, that does work. Wait. How about now? Okay, where's the plug? The plug thing. There it is. The plug thing. It's not plugged. God, how does Invader Zim infect like that? This would be the... Oh wait, it's written on this. The right channel. Oh, I don't know. Did I hook it up right to right? I think it's right to left. Right to left. Of course I messed that one up. And then we're injecting that signal into the other channel to see if the op-amp setup works. Of course, it's also partially testing to see if my clips work, but let's just see. Bonk. Well, that's looking like a square wave. Oh, wait, no, but that's not the one we're testing. We're testing this one. That's looking like a square wave. So the op-amp circuit works. And if I take that sawtooth and I put it in here, yeah, it's coming out of there just fine. The circuit I built is perfectly good. Yeah, a shame they didn't keep it going. Jonan Vasquez was like seething at that they canceled it. I don't know, looking back on it, the humor was very early 2000s. I loved it, but, you know, it is what it is. It is a product of its era. The movie was very good. Enter the Florpus was very good. It seems like maybe that was all the ideas for the end of the show that they just sort of piled into a movie. It seemed like it could have been more of a series, but what we got was good. So something is wrong with this driver. Let's get another one. Well, no, but we had all the drivers working before. So what could it be besides some kind of a digital fuck up? It has to be something on this side of the thing. What we can do is I can run a knife. We saw all the digital signals come in, but maybe something shorts out. No, this looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. Well, just in case, let's get a knife. Get a knife on it. Let's go a knife. Wow, that really, when you disturb the flux, it looks like a big mess. Wow, that is, woof, woof. That does not look good. I mean, I'm sure electrically it's totally fine. It just does not look good. Looks like I'm really ruining stuff by doing this. Yikes. Oh, you know what we can do? Here. Easy test. Just swap them. Okay, so it is the driver. I have one extra. One. Yeah, something happened to this one. Cheeky bastard. You're running around science like kids with guns. Creating a new world while the one you got is stinking. Come on, hands up. Anyone who thinks they got it right. I could see you. Always one. Sorry. This is a stupid quote from a TV miniseries that Orbital used on one of their albums. So it's not like I should be able to see anything over here. There's our two waves. So yeah, the chip's not outputting. But it's getting all of the stuff that it needs to output. Clock, digital in, LR clock. It's all there. We know it works with the other driver. This one is unfortunately dead. But it seems as though the chip is dead because there's just simply nothing coming out of it. Could it be something with the jumpers? Stay tuned. No, let's see. Turn this thing off. Take a look. I can't believe they use tiny resistors as jumpers on these things. Wait. That one was the... Which one was the dead one? Uh-oh. Which one of y'all died? Okay, yeah, that's the good one. All right. Let's check to see if these jumpers are actually yumping. Yumping. Get my probes. Get my ohms. I need the microscope for this. I can't see. I wonder if they sent me an email. They have my email. They should send me an email. I'll have to check that. God, this is so tiny. Just a tiny little thing. Okay, that one's good. This one looks all right. I'm trying to hit the pad instead of the resistor. It's hard to do, though. No, they don't fax me. I don't think they email me about this stuff either. I'm going to get a letter in the mail, I think, that says that my medication is approved. Let me just check my email real quick. I just have to go across the room to do it. I don't like to check my email on the streaming computer for obvious reasons. It's time to reorder your supplies as your doctor prescribed. Which one does that mean? It's probably the glucose sensor and stuff. They'll call, this company will call you in order to refill your medication if you don't do it on their website. They're terrible website, but I'll have to do it on the website tonight. That's what it was. It was a renewal of medications. They're actually so good at it that I kind of want to put them on the insulin pump, because CVS is the one that fills my insulin pump, and they routinely fuck it up. It gets off of their autofill schedule. If I had this other company do it, I bet they would be on point to do it. The question is just if Pennsylvania would still pay them for the supplies. Okay, so this driver's dead. We need to pin another driver. I have another driver somewhere. We're gonna have to find it. The thing is, though, I do only need 4 channels out of this thing right now. So I have all the channels. I would just like to get this to be a singular functioning device, though, because this is going to be the test bed for the module testing module. And so if we spend all of our time on one project today, it'll at least further stuff down the line. I think what I just said made sense, right? I can never be sure. It is only $14 to get 3 of those things. Did the old one end up in here? I don't know. This is the fun bin. This one has all the fun stuff in it. All the microcontrollers that I like to use. All the little pin extensions and breadboard supplies. Not very organized, but you can sometimes find vintage microcontrollers under everything. Like a teensy 3.1. Okay, that's a different OLED screen. Look at that. Never mind. All right, so let's see. We're looking for that little audio output board. It doesn't look like it got in here. It doesn't look like it got into this bin. It might be under some of this stuff. Nah. Nothing. I don't see it. All right, so let's look around, because I had all 4 of them out. So it's going to be somewheres. This is all the old project garbage from when we built this thing on the breadboard. So it might actually be floating around here. Oh, this goes with this. This goes with this. All right. Under the stacks, around the stacks, through the stacks. Nah, nothing. This is the receiver board. Partner to the transmitter. This is our teensy 4.1. This is going to go in the module tester module, just because I don't want to boil it down to just the microcontroller. I'd rather have a microcontroller platform. And this thing has all the ins and outs of this chip, so we can attach a bunch of buttons to it like plebes without having to do complicated circuit stuff. I'm still going to get a printed circuit board because that's just where things are these days. It's like, it costs nothing to make a circuit board now. It just costs your time designing it. Everything's falling off the table. All right, where did that thing go? This is going to be a problem. Finding this thing is going to be a problem because we've had so many iterations of these circuits that there are little dumps of supplies everywhere. That always happens with these things. I would have expected it to be on this board, but it's not. We eventually have to... Well, actually, let me break that down now. I'm going to get all these sideboards into something. Adapters and whatnots. Voltage shifters, power inputs. Reference makers. Where do those go? I'll put the references here. Let's get this over here. Let's see. Yeah, we're packing it in. Packing in a project. That's still a thing there. This is a level shifter. What was this one? ADS 1115. I know that number. Oh, it's an ADC. Oh, analog to digital converter. We didn't end up using it. We didn't even end up using the MIDI plug, and this thing is supposed to have MIDI in the end, so I can use that keyboard to play notes. At some point, I'm probably going to have to think about retiring some of the boards that I have in this case, or getting a larger case. Maybe I'll just buy a bigger case. All right, that's mostly everything. I don't think I'm going to suffer transistors. They'll probably get thrown out. This is the very nice teensy board, but I'm going to put it right there. Well, actually, I'll put it right over here with its brethren. Okay, so that's packed up. There were no audio things in there, except for that ADC. And there's no purple audio boards where I probably would have put it. Huzzah? Why is that feather board in there? I should probably throw that out. I don't do anything with feather boards. I should have a bothered giveaway. Let's see. Where else could it have gone? Well, there's a case over here where it might be. I know I've got it. I ordered a pack of 1 of that thing, and then I ordered a pack of 3 for $14. So I know it exists somewhere in the shop. Looks like it's not in this one. Okay. I don't know what just fell on the floor. Something made a ticking noise as it dropped on the floor. I don't know where it is. Okay, so that little purple board might be over here with all of the derelict supplies. It is not. Stuff that I keep behind the keyboard for special keeping. It's just another thing that I have to organize. Okay. Was it up here? Move stuff around, see if I can find that thing. Probably would have gotten pushed further and further backwards. We still need to use some of these screens, by the way. I bought these circular screens. They're really cool. They're OLED, but they go into that really tiny header. But I think I can use that screen library with them and make some cool stuff. Circular screens are special. All right, there's no sign of it there. Move over here. Don't see it back here. No. And then it's not over here. So other places that it might be. Oh, I should probably put that screen with these screens. My little box of screens. This is actually larger than the other OLEDs. Oh yeah, here's a project that we really need to get back to. Here's something that we haven't done. This little thermal imager, I need to figure out what it is. And we need to get a battery on it. I need to get a battery on it, I need to figure out what it is, and I need to turn it into a pocket device because I want this to be the Poop Finder 5000. This is for finding dog poop in leaves. 'Tis the season, right? I should have done that last month. That would have been a nice little mechanical project that we could have done. Could have made a little battery door. But no, here I am looking for a driver board, an audio driver board, that ended up getting sucked under in the sort of undertow of Project Drek that I exist in. I don't know where it went. Oh yeah, here's the backing of one of those voltmeters, and it's metal. So with the voltmeter, with the millivolt meter, we're going to have to illuminate it from the front, which is fine. We can do an LED and make a little diffuser with a 3D printer or a piece of paper. Piece of paper works too. No need to overcomplicate. Or wait, no, this is my show. Every need to overcomplicate. Always overcomplicate. I can't believe they sell alcoholic Sunny D. I'm still beside myself about that. And I bought it, and I drank it. And it was really good. Sunny D is a good mixer, actually. Didn't expect it. And it didn't blow up my glucose level, which is what I fully expected to have happen from that. I was getting ready to inject, but the pump was fine, just sort of regulating me on its own. This is what happens when I can't find something. I start cleaning up. That usually solves the problem. Just putting cables away. Putting stuff away. Bringing it out. Putting it away. Over and over again in perpetuity. That can go way away. This was totally useless. This is in fact all garbage. These voltmeters and current meters, because I've completely defiled the current meters. They are high side current meters that require a separate chip to run now. That's what happens when you change gears in the middle of a project. It's like, oh, this doesn't work anymore, and now it's just a completely useless object to have around. So where would I have put a little purple circuit board that has a bunch of audio stuff, a bunch of audio capabilities? Where would it? No, they don't have any use. No. What I did is I took the current monitoring, I took the shunt resistor out, and I made it so that it had to be attached to a one of those other types, the high side current monitoring chips. So there's no documentation about any of that. So they're really just not useful anymore. They're just clutter. If I have to order new ones, it's worth it to me to not have it around. the $10, $5 for that, I would rather spend that money than have held on to it and it having taken up space in my shop. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with that sort of thing. What is this? This is another one of those screens. I'm rifling around. It's tough to find stuff like this after working for weeks on a project. There is one of these audio driver boards that has gotten away from me, and I could tune the last channel using one of the functioning boards, which maybe we should do, but I would rather have a fully functioning device at the end of the day. I would just rather this whole thing worked. But that audio driver has been pushed aside time and time again, and now I'm left with not knowing where it is. All right, let's get this down to a drawer. My variable resistor, go in there with electronic stuff. Wait, what else is in generic electronic stuff? No, there wouldn't be an audio driver in there. That's like programming stuff. Okay, where else? Where else? Get these breadboards all somewhere. Prototyping. That's what we do here. Prototype and make messes. I'm all out of mess. Anybody need a click disc? An iOmega click disc? No? You don't need a click disc? This is when they were figuring out what everybody would be storing stuff in around the era of burning CDs. Fancy power indicator for a project? Maybe. Maybe, but I don't know. It's more worth just not having them. like I said, not having to store stuff. I'll put it on a shelf for now, but it's on notice. Where are we filming? Oh, right there. Okay. iOmega Click Drive. It was basically just a hard drive platter. Let's get the scope out of here for just a minute. It's a click disk, of course. How does that open again? So they save it from oils and dust via a little door that opens up. When you put this thing into the drive, something catches this and it opens it as well. So if I get my pen tool, hold on, let me sit down. Let me sit down so I can show this thing off. An iOmega click disk. Yeah, zip disks were really expensive. I had a friend of mine sneak them out of his office. There's just a little catch there, and then this opens up, and it reveals it's like not actually a hard disk. It's actually a disk material, but I guess it's probably a little bit more like dense or something like that. I don't know. It can hold more data than a zip disk. I think it was like a gigabyte. Although it's labeled 40. But zip disks were like 100 megs, right? There's all the patents. Surely they're still doing stuff with these, right? Right? It was just kind of cool having like an alternative disk drive. I really wish that mini disks had taken off as like a computer storage medium. There was, I forget what it was. Maybe it was like an anime or something where they inserted a mini disc into a computer drive, and I always thought that was the coolest. But yeah, I just keep this around for fun. Yeah, mini discs were awesome. I had an expensive handheld mini disc player back in the day. I loved it. That's where all my early 2000s techno went. It should have gone onto a hard drive. I have a friend who has a collection of early 2000s techno, and I wanna get that onto a thumb drive so I can play it ahead of stream. Listen to all that crappy, I mean great music from the early 2000s. Why is the scope still up? Need to put that on a button. Where in the hell? Okay, so somewhere in this shop, there exists another audio driver. I'm going to look for a little bit longer, and then we'll move on. Are there parts in here? No, it's just an empty bag. These are just bags that I threw to the side while streaming. When I'm streaming, I try to keep stuff punchy and keep things happening on camera. And what that ends up doing is producing trash in the various corners of the shop from my haste to keep things rolling. This doesn't even close. There's some arrangement of the stuff in this bin that would allow it to close. All these circuit boards in here. Oh boy, we gotta figure this out. All right, we're gonna do a puzzle. You guys ready for some puzzles? Puzzle is getting this thing to close. I don't see that circuit board anywhere over here. Oh, my mic wire. I got to do a little turnaround here. Okay, so here's what we got to do. Hold on, I'm just going to check up here a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know where that went. I had all of them in one place at one point in the past couple weeks, but I don't know. It's vanished. It's probably behind something, or maybe I just need to kind of like rearrange things and it'll pop up. Is it? Oh, right here. Why didn't anybody tell me it was right here? Why don't you guys tell me? It was right there. There it is. Okay, we'll put pins on that. Jeez, what's wrong with you people? You guys are just leaving me high and dry here. I blame you. I blame you. I hate puzzles. Well, too bad. I burnt all my EDM to CDRs and DVDs back in the day and then lost them all. Yeah, there's probably a big stack of CDs somewhere that's all of my terrible techno music that I used to listen to. I didn't used to listen to techno. I listened to trance. And then Goa. Trance was something else back in the day. By back in the day, I mean 25 years ago. Jeez. 25? When did that happen? It just under our watch, it just happened. This is the only way that this bin is going to be able to close. Happy Hardcore. That was one that I could not avoid. I hated Happy Hardcore. But then Gabber and all that stuff, I occasionally listen to. Gonad's a big fan of that kind of crap. Like, what the hell is this? Is the Chipmunks? What are we listening to? And then my friend would go to Happy Hardcore parties. Talk about, oh man, talk about I'm going to pay for the headache that you're about to give me. Okay. What I didn't know is that being a big fan of The Prodigy, I did not know that that was just a style of music and that their music was not uncommon. In fact, you can get the same vibe off of anything that's in that category of music. It's insane. I did not know this. I'm not smart. That's what the drugs were for. Yeah, the drugs gave you all the variety of the music. Oh my God, I got stopped and frisked in New York City while high as a kite at a Happy Hardcore party. So we're there in our giant pants and we go to this party and my friend does a bunch of mushrooms for the first time in a while and he starts to freak out. I think the pot put him in that sort of panic mode. And so he's sitting there having a life crisis. Like, what happens when I die? Like, all of those intrusive sort of thought experiment kind of thoughts are creeping into his brain. And as we are walking away from this club, you know, Happy Hardcore is a lot to kind of stomach in that state of mind. And so a black van screeches to a halt next to us, because of course they didn't care about the brakes. The taxpayer pays for those. Screeches to a halt, and a bunch of dudes dressed in, you know, I'm totally not a cop clothes, you know, when they try too hard to look casual, and separates us and starts asking us questions. Where are you going? What are you guys doing? Can I see some ID? And like, the whole time I am thinking about my friend freaking out, and I'm like, okay, just play it cool. Just play it cool. We'll be fine. And he did. He actually did. He was freaking the hell out internally, but he was able to still function well enough that we weren't suspect. I mean, we're two white kids dressed in giant pants outside of a club. I mean, come on. But still, he handled it perfectly, and he was high as a kite. I was like, oh, man. That was sobering, to say the least. All right. Cool. Those are all dealt with. I've been meaning to do that for a while, just because when those things stack, they don't necessarily stack in sort of like a packing sense. And so you need to occasionally take them all out and then put them all back in with, damn it, with a little bit of a packaging sense. And then they all fit in suddenly. Now it's not going to close because of these little bits. Why am I holding on to this? Let's go in the garbage. What am I saving that for? Stop. I'll never understand how stop and frisk is even remotely legal. I'll never understand. Like, hey, can we just stop a citizen and pat them down? No, of course not. That's the like least fucking, with no suspicion, nothing. They just stop somebody, pat them down, check their ID. Those two pieces of circuit board are going to be the linchpin of a future project. Now that I've thrown them out. I bought a bunch of square headers, and now I can't find my round headers anywhere. Because we were deathly low on square headers. But this project uses round headers, so naturally I don't have any round headers. Yeah, it's police state stuff. It's like, it's not... Jesus Christ, it's like the worst. I just don't understand how that could even be considered to be legal. Glad we don't have that kind of shenanigans in Pennsylvania. Even just checking somebody's ID should not be allowed. It's like a way to discriminate against people who don't carry their IDs. Never understood that stuff. Then again, I'm not a cop. I've known cops in my day. Okay, that one, and then some of these. The crossbeam. I guess I'm just breaking these by hand, which is sometimes not accurate. You gotta be careful with that. I don't have a good technique to teach for that. Plugging it into a header and then just bending it with the tip of your fingernail instead of bending it with your whole finger, because the finger is much larger than it doesn't really direct the brake into the right part. Let's get closer. Come here, come here, get right there. Fucking, just look at this. Look. Yeah, focus your eyes on it. Okay, let's get the light over here. Can I see some ID? I don't know. What's your prescription? You got 2 eyes. Like, what if you just say no? Can I see some ID? No. No, you can't. God, we would have been... I didn't want to see the inside of a New York City police station that night. So, you know, I complied. Do they still... Is that still legal there? Or have they finally figured out that it's like kind of a fucking dystopian police society thing to have cops rolling around in unmarked vans in the middle of the night, grabbing teenagers away because they don't have proper ID on them because they were going to a club? Actually, wait, we did have ID on us because we were going to a club for that very precise reason. That's why we had the ID on us in the first place. We wanted to go to the club. You know, the club where teenagers go every night? We were in college when this happened, actually. It was freaky, though. I was sure that I was going to be seeing the inside of a police station that night. Because my friend would have been like, there's ghosts in the walls or something like that. And they would have been like, these kids are high. Bring them in. Let's book them. Cops are the best. And they're all high-fiving and shit. I thought that was surely going to happen to us. But it didn't, because we're white, and they don't care about white people roaming the streets at night. I remember Stop and Search was stopped in London for a short time, then was brought back. I think the same thing happened in New York, too. New York City. I think they brought it back. And I don't know the legal status of it in Pennsylvania as well. I don't think we have roving cops, because most of the cops like their status as being, you know, still alive. I don't think they're harassing people in Philly. There was a VW meetup that I went to a long time ago. It was mid-2000s. And I was trying to get in with a new friend group and, you know, meet some car people. Maybe it'd be kind of cool. And so I met with the Philly VW folks, and they were full of in-groups at the time. There was a lot of in-joking that I wasn't privy to, and a lot of just sort of like, I don't know, not really warming up to strangers at all. And I left that car meet that night going, well, I guess that was something in proximity to fun. And when I got home, I saw that somebody had driven by the car meet and started firing bullets at them. And one of the VW kids got hit in the foot with a .22 caliber bullet, which is pretty much a snake bite, but it's still a hospital-worthy offense. Pretty crazy stuff. I could have been shot at again. But it was just some random kid driving by, just deciding to open fire into a crowd. Wholesome Philadelphia stuff. You know how it is. All right, so this should probably work now, and we can get it all tuned. Welcome to Story Time with Oh Bother. I got shot at! Okay. I survived Philadelphia, and all I have to show for it are these gunshot wounds. And then we need our output on the top channel. Theoretically, this should be a no-brainer, and it should just come to life. And then I have to put a little face on the old one. Bonk. There's a wave. Wait, we went away. What? Wait a minute. What is this? Something funky. Hold on. Turn it off. Damn, this thing draws a lot of current. How come when I touch it, it suddenly stabilizes? Something to do with the ground? Or the capacitors? Or I touched this side of the circuit, which is where 3 volts is coming in. Maybe it needs a capacitor on the power input. I'm backed away. What in the world? Look at that. When I touch it, it stabilizes. Huh? The ground should be good. Yeah, when I touch ground. When I couple myself to ground, it seems like it suddenly gets better. Ow, that thing's hot as hell. Hot as heel. What the fuck? Is there a break in the ground pin? Maybe that's what's going on. Turn it off and let's just check. We gotta find another voltage regulator. This is enough. I've had enough of this thing. It's burnt me again just now. I didn't make a fuss about it, even though I'm here to make a fuss about things. Literally, my whole purpose here is to fuss over things. Oh, hello. What are you? What are you supposed to be? Is that an output? Oh, I see. This is just the thing that sticks over from the output. I didn't see it because it was sticking straight up and down. And I can't see things that stick straight up and down because we're viewing this on a microscope that is vertically placed. Jeez. All right, so my first driver, right here, and then right here, that is absolutely connected to ground, but that might be a little dodgy. Other than that, well, that's what I heard. Okay, let's get this little bit more solder on this and see if that fixes our problems. It seems as though my finger was providing the ground when I touched the thing, so it seems like maybe somebody didn't have a proper reference to ground. But the soldering looks impeccable. I'm perfect in every way. Of all the places that thing could have been, I can't believe it was just sitting there on the magnet hanger. Good that I found it. It's just the delay in game of looking for it was kind of annoying. These seem like they're okay. I mean, the digital signals are getting into the thing. The question is just whether or not ground is kosher. I wonder if I should add in some capacitors. 12 volt has capacitors on it, I believe. It's just the 5 volt over here that doesn't, or the 3 volt rather, that does not. Now one's VIN and the other's ground. I don't know which one is which. I think ground is this one. So I'm just gonna load it up with a bunch of solder and make sure that it's bridging that gap, which it most definitely is, now at least. And what's this one right here? This one's our signal output. That little toast. There you go. Also, just check to see if any of these wires in proxy have melted together, because that's what happens with these stupid things. Oh yeah, and then I wanted to do one thing with this. I want to actually stand up the end of this. Oh no, it looks like Yeah, no, I want to stand up the end of this so there's a little bit more heat exchange over the air. I have low hopes for this voltage regulator if it's operating at this freaking temperature. Oh, the whole thing has gone molten. The problem with solder heat sinks is that they can cool off and, or sorry, the problem with solder heat sinks is that they can dissipate the heat from your iron. And so you'll end up with a heat sink that your iron is stuck to. For that purpose, I always keep a gas soldering iron on hand. Well, not on hand, but I mean in the wings, just in case something goes awry and your soldering iron winds up attaching itself to your circuit. I've had that happen before where a big blob of solder just sort of lazily makes a connection. Oh, look at that. Yeah, there's a little nick in the wire right there. Does that mean it's not connecting? Well, kind of looks like it. Oh, well, that's B clock. That gets in. We know that gets in. It's ground that we're worried about. And it seems as though it should have a good connection now, if that's what was going wrong with it digitally. I mean, it's very strange pressing down on the board and having it glitch in and out. Now, ground over here goes to the ground pins of the Arduino. These are all the grounds for the audio cables. That's what these long tracks are, these huge tracts of land. And then it comes over and it goes to that pin and then scooches over to this one. Those look okay. They look okay. They don't look perfect, but it should be making a, let's just make sure that this one makes contact. It does look a little bit cold soldered. What I'm looking for is if the wire has definition on top of the pin, it might be that the solder didn't flow over properly. And so when you see these dark lines to either side, it's possible that it's a cold solder joint. We want wet solder joints. We want them dripping. Ew. I want that solder to drip. That doesn't sound good. Oh, and then my dog starts barking and stuff. She barking. Okay, let's test this. I may have already solved the problem. Poking around at it may not do us any good. Bring that scope back and then plug this in and then plug this in. And this comes with its own ground. So we're grounding our whole system with our scope using that. Turn it on. It's up. Our signal still looks like gas. Oh, what? What? Wait a minute. Okay, let's look up here. I wish I would have met you. Okay, so power is there. Ground is here. That's interesting. Are you still having ground issues? Hold on, let's go to the micro. Let's bring the scope back in. Because when I touch this, it stabilizes. Whoa. Oh, even if I touch the ground collar, it comes back. Are we getting like an isolated ground? Let's check the other channels. Okay, those are totally stable. So we're missing something in this channel that's interrupting our signal. Where's L clock? Oh, there it is. What the butt? What the butt? Oh, I'll take my hands away. Did you just stabilize when I went to serial clock? It did. Is SCK not coming through? Oh, or is it the act of my holding? No, it's not. So I'm totally isolated right now. My hands have been removed. It wasn't me, officer. SCK is not connected to anything on any of these. But when I probe SCK and I get a connection, it stabilizes. What is going on? 3 volts doesn't change. I'm just injecting a lot of noise with my hands. Bad contact. Yeah, but where? Oh, okay. Well, we could fix that. That could certainly be fixed. Why is that so far off? It's because I soldered it down like this. Maybe the chip isn't allowing it to. Okay, let's turn that off and let's fix the soldering on this thing. Is that thing getting hot? No, it's just this. It's in proximity to this extremely hot regulator is what's going on. All right, so I need to fix this. It still needs to be at this angle, though, so I guess I got to fix it in place, in situ. But it's not like it was unsoldered. It's perfectly soldered on. So I just have to push on this side of the board and get the iron in here. Maybe somewhat shorting or hot regulator. Well, but the thing is, like, it was on contact with me, so I would be grounding the signal. Or I'd be giving it the ground that it needs as a reference. Ow, that's getting hot. Probably not moving either. Yeah, that didn't really do anything. Well, I'm inclined to just leave it like this. This is fine. This is still contacting. Like, I would expect that behavior out of a circuit that's not grounded at all. And we are sharing a ground because we've got the plug with the ground on it. So my only real theory was that this ground here is not connected, but it is certainly connected. It has more connection than I think any other part of the circuit. It is very well connected to ground. Very good connection there. Check under the stuff. Make sure we don't have any shorts. That's fine. This thing is all the same jumper settings because it's just directly from the factory. That's plus 12, and there's ground on this pin and this pin. Do a continuity check. Continuity! Continuity. Here. 0.3. That's ground, right? Yeah, I think it is. Check over here. You're not allowed to beep. No beeps. No beepus. What in the world? What a weird problem. And the other drivers aren't doing that. They don't do that. makes perfectly good connection. I'll plug the board in and check the grounds on the board. That's dodgy. What about you? It says ohms. 0.3. That's ohms as well. So it's making a connection. Why is it all messed up? Could be that I accidentally fixed it just now. That's always a possibility. But it's both of the channels are doing that. Let's swap the, since these are modular, we can swap them. So let's just verify that the problem's happening again. Outputting waveform. What the fuck? Okay, and then this one, perfectly fine. I'm not touching it. My hands are off. Okay, turn this off. Swap the two. Change places. Solid. Solid. Okay, put this one in here. It's the channel. It's that channel that's doing it. Then why would this be the same way? That is a cool looking waveform, though. You have to admit that's a cool looking waveform. This is the part of the reason why I detest doing electronics is to drive me crazy and angry. I don't get angry. I have been credited with having an amazing amount of patience. And for me, this is just sussing through a logical problem. I could probably trace this down to exactly why it's happening, but I think it's something to do with our op-amp circuit. Now, the deductive reasoning that I use in these streams is kind of what I like to show off. I am very skilled at soldering, but what I'm also really, really good at is going through the logic of a problem and figuring out what's wrong. So now it's just stabilized on its own. All right, so let's take a look at the op-amp circuit. I don't think it's the driver. I think it's what we've plugged it into. So we need to make sure that we're getting continuity from there, and then from the opposite side, it's going in properly. It looks okay. I mean, it looks like it's all right. What I suspected were the grounds of the op-amp, but those seem to be okay too. And we checked them on the multimeter. So why would it be glitching out only when you touch it? Kitty, wanna touch it? Wanna touch it? What if I ground these two just with this, and so they're just sharing more ground? That's all I can really think of. Positive 12 coming in one side, minus 12 coming in the other. Popping off to its other buddies. I don't really see much that I would consider to be wrong with this. Board flex and connectors. Yeah, that's often what happens with these things, huh? Oh yeah, well no, but okay, so when I swapped these two, we still had a problem on this channel. So this one is the furthest away. And why would it limit it to that little area? What's going on with that? Possibly due to this tendency for the noise. This is the grounding noise on the probe. I've got my palm against the probe right now. And so that noise could also be triggering the signal. It's a little odd. Feels like something that a capacitor would solve. Stop right there. See, the thing is, the other circuits are working perfectly. So what is it about this one that makes it weird around getting earth? Get earth, fool. And it's both channels that do it, huh? So I'm inclined to believe that the op amp is doing something. Something in the op amp ain't doing right. Op amp is right here. It's getting its grounds, but maybe it's not getting the plus or minus 12 that it needs. Which that could be a thing. That can totally be a thing. If this didn't make a connection, and now it does. Uh-oh. Maybe it was a minus 12 error, but that wouldn't, why would that knock out 90% of the signal and then only allow one thing to, I don't know. It doesn't seem quite right to me. And of course, the circuit is immaculate because I built it. That's just how things work. All right, maybe that fixed it. Let's try. What a weird problem. Very strange. I guess when you're dealing with the AC stuff, these things can crop up from anywhere. All right, and then this over here, bonk. I'm glad that the power supply is built because that really helps me do this testing. All right, that one's perfectly stable. This is the whack-a-mole one. I'm not touching it, and it works. I think it was one of the power connections. Yeah, we work now. All right. Cool. Yeah, going over the solder. Most of the problems that I had with this circuit and getting it up and running revolved around bad solder joints. It's the wire that I use can be a little finicky. And in the future, I'll just have to make sure that my wires are actually soldered on. They look like they're soldered on, but they're cold welded. They're insidious cold welds. Cold solder joints are rough. Yeah, and as much as I love the flat pliers, maybe we'll put these flat pliers elsewhere. And all my tools can fit in this drawer. These drawers are very specifically arranged. Trying to get this thing into the wooden drawer in front of me. There we go. This one has to go somewhere else. Let's put it in here for now. Okay, so these waveforms now need to go to the proper PPs. So let's get our PP all over this thing. This one is the right channel. One that I'm adjusting right here. And I'm trying to get my PP to 10. How would you rate that PP? 10. So here we are fluttering between 10.1 and 2. Back it off a little bit. See how little I have to turn this thing. It would be nice to put like a 1K on this and then tune it a little bit more specifically. But this will be fine for our testing purposes for the amplifier. So we have 6 unique channels that don't interact with each other in any way. I have a screen on this thing. I should probably start looking into programming this screen so that we can have settings on channels. There we go. Fluttering between 9 and 10. Look at that. It's a beautiful waveform, too. I mean, it's... Oh, what was that? Why was it flashing like that? That was weird. Go back to channel 1. What is it? What the... I think there might still be some What the hell? Maybe I need some capacitors on this thing. Why is it flashing like that? What about you? Actually, this is not 10 volts, is it? It's 10 volt peak to peak. We were looking for 20 volt peak to peak for the audio. We have Vmax and we have VPP, and we should be 20. I don't know why it's flashing like that. I don't know what's going on there. But we should have way more volts than this. This is 10 volt peak to peak is plus minus 5 volts. But audio in these synthesizers is much more aggressive. So let's turn it up to 10. Ah, come on. Where are you? Oh, wait. I want this channel. What is doing that? Wow. What is that? 17, 18, 19. Oh, and there's our error again. Once again, it's stabilized by my touching it. That's a little weird. I don't know if I need a bunch of capacitors or something. So we want it flashing between 19 and 20, and that should do it. So there's our 10 volt peak to peak. That's the actual waveform that we should be going for. Go back over to this channel, and hopefully we don't get shenanigans. We do. We get lots of shenanigans. I don't know why. I can't answer that question. Going up or down? And why is it flashing so much? What is going on? Flex the board. That could be the voltage regulator. 14, 15, 16. Ugh, slipping off of this thing. It off a little. I can't believe that it's a 20 volt signal. That is so much gain. That's such a big amplitude. That's what these are called for. It's plus minus 10 volt for audio signals. Okay, I'm gonna look at oh, is that why you were stable? What's power look like? What the fuck? What is going on? It's doing it again, and it's only this driver. Oh, was that our power glitching out, or was that just me? I'm gonna go bump, bump, bump. Who is getting a ground through that? Is it... No, it's not continuity of ground. It's just like a big grounding error. What? Power seems okay through all that. Did we lose ground in my probe? Well, no, because if I go to another channel, it's perfectly stable. Let me get these to 20 volt peak to peak. Very strange here. You guys need a different view. It's just that last driver has trouble for some reason. How's that view? That's a good view. I hate these flatheads so much. I have no love for these things. Oh my god, I need to 3D print like a little tool to use on them. The flathead just does not lock in, and you end up having weird angles on them, and so you slip out. Oop, over 20. Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. A little further, a little further. 19.99, a little bit up. That should be pretty accurate. All right, right channel. Ah. 17, 18, 19. 20, back it down, 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 back it down. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right. 20. There we go. A little bit less. 20.0, 19, 20, 19, 20. That's good. That's what I want to see. All right, now the close one. That one's already at 20. We tuned that one properly. I don't know why I got 10 volts in my head. Back it down just a little bit. That's the wrong channel. No, that's the right channel. It should be the left one. What the? It's doing it again. Oh, did these change? Uh-oh. I think I got R and L screwed up on this one. Yeah, I did. I got my R's and L's screwed up. I'll have to correct that at some point. That means rewiring, though, and I just don't want to do that. 19, 20. All right, so we're all tuned up. At least as accurate as I want it to be. So what was causing the screen to flicker in and out? Oh, there it goes. Was that me slipping, or was that... Hold on, I need to make sure that my connection is good. Come on, do the glitch thing. Do the glitch thing. Do it. Come on, do it. Just do the glitch. Come on, do it. You can do it. You can do the glitch. Just glitch out for me, man. Just do a little tiny glitchy thing, you know? That glitch thing you do that everybody loves. You do that? You just do that? It's not. I'm wondering if it's a thermal shutdown from the voltage regulator. It doesn't appear to be, though, because it only happens occasionally. Wait, what's getting... Oh, these audio driver chips are getting warm. That's what's so hot over here. Just warm, not hot. Oh, and then I glitched that one out by touching it there. And then I can glitch it back in. I'm wondering if there's like some kind of a capacitor that I'm missing. I would like to be able to rely on this thing in order to make the signals that I need in order to run this. But if that's going to happen, I don't know heads or tails. Why is that happening? The solution for it is even more ridiculous. There's me touching the output. I don't have any capacitors on the output. Maybe I needed a capacitor to ground on the out. But it didn't reference that. I mean, it's got an audio plug right there. Is there any debris on this? Everything looks pristine. And it's not specifically the driver, it's the location. Because if I swap these two, this one will still have the same errors. Let me move the op amp in the socket and see what that does. I'll just peel it up a little bit and then put it back down. Or just totally take it out and put it back. I don't think the op amp is what's acting up, but maybe it's a TL072 that's seen a few too many Mondays. Check on this stuff. Rock solid. Nothing to worry about there, from what I can see. Everybody's online, looking good. And if anything affected the plus minus 12, it would affect all of them down the line. It's only affecting this one, so maybe it's a digital signal popping out? Well, no, because it's clearly like an amplifier thing, because it somehow it sections off the signal and only works certain times. What is going on? That one is here. So I can plug in here, and in a vacuum, turn it on. Okay. Or no, that one is this one. Yeah, there it is. This is poop. This is utter poop. This is irreverent poop. What is going on? Why is this like this? It's like a ground fault. Okay, what's the digital signal look like? Fine, it's constant. LR clock is constant. That's ground. This one's VN. VN's not being manipulated. That gets power. This one gets power. Yeah. I'm gonna find you, you bastard. You small signal bastard. I'm not getting a waveform here. I should be getting a waveform here. Oh, because it's equally fucked. I see. Like a decoupling capacitor fault. But it's not on the board. It's something about the rest of the circuit that's going nuts. I keep defaulting back to the board thinking that something's wrong here, because when I touch the board, it corrects itself. But that's not what's going on here. Something weird and insidious is going on here. Let's put in a new op amp. Let's put a new op amp in there. Perhaps it's the op amp, and I got plenty of them, so. Get the hell out of my circuit. I never want to see you again. Information detected at the front door. I guess packages are starting to arrive. It's that time of day. Oh boy, packages. Where are my TLO72s? I may not have as many as I thought, as previously stated. I thought I had a bunch. Maybe this is one. My eyes don't work. I'm going to put this under the scope to see. I saw a small spark. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Or maybe you need to see a doctor if you're seeing sparks. It's not good. Don't even know what the hell these are. Where did that other one go? Oh, it's over here. Yeah, these are not TLO72s. The TLO72s are in this bin. Oh, maybe this is one. Here's one at the bottom of the bin. It may be the last one that I have, these through-hole TLO72s. TL072. Okay, good. We have one. I have one left. Jeez, we've been using these in a lot of different circuits. They make sense in this one because it's 2 op amps, and we only need 2 op amps on the outputs. We don't need to flip it back around for any reason because we're not held to keeping it in phase with any other audio signal because these are generated here. I just bent these all over the place. That was bad. All right, so I probably need to press them into each other to get it to go in. I've been pretty good about turning things off in between runs of the circuit. So there clearly would be no sparks today. Well, it would be nice to have something more exciting happening. Sparks all over the place and be like, oh my goodness, it's so kooky. But no, I don't do kooky. We engineer here. I wonder if a decoupling capacitor would help this thing. I didn't do any decoupling caps. They're kind of a pain in the butt. Maybe, just maybe that would help. If I decouple both powers to ground right next to this thing. I mean, it's not like it's an inrush problem. Why is it not lining up? It's just because the pins are a little bent. When I was rolling the pins to get them to straighten out, I bent it a little bit. What are you doing? There we go. Okay. TL07-2 in there, in the right orientation. Ready to go, in its lane, thriving. Oops, this is the old one. No, it's not. It's one of the other chips. Well, get that back into the bin. Back into the bin, and then we try this thing out and see if it's You know, to be fair, we tested the circuit using the output from this one. We plugged it in over here, and it didn't exhibit these problems. I don't think it's a connector issue. And the soldering is fine. Soldering looks great. But then when we swap them, it still has the error. What is this? What is the problem here? All right, let's try this again. Boop. That's still doing it. It's still doing it. It's just when I touch it, it's fine. Is it some capacitor on the board? No, it's not. It's not. Stop saying that it's the board. Because if I do this, which is swapping the board and all the connectors are different, same problem. What? Is my audio cable not grounding? Grounds run up all of the thonks. Well, if it's happening on both channels, both sides of one channel, then no, it's not the connector. Ooh, this is aggravating. This is aggravating. Genuinely don't know what's wrong. Genuinely have no idea. These are all the tabs of the Donkey Kongs, and they're all soldered in. Why would these two on the end be having issues? Can we pick up a ground somewhere else in this vicinity? We can maybe get, those are the two inputs. The ground would be somewhere over here. This one, it does its little sideways thing. Looks pretty well connected. And then, oh yeah, so here's ground of the final one. I have enough troubles over here, but let me tie that ground into the grid of Donkey Kongs, because we can. We'll just see if this fixes it. I don't think it will, but it might be an issue with the ground being so far away. And then pin tool is over here. This is one of those problems that just kind of goes away sometimes. Sometimes you get these where the problem will just go away. I was hoping for that earlier, but it hasn't happened yet. So. Yep, iron turned off. So much motion. Stop moving. My front door sensor keeps going off. Okay, that's a little bit more ground. tied in, and we're going to tie it into the rest of the circuit in just a second here. Let me just anchor this down. Maybe we should try piping in a signal again and see if it's happening to the rest of the circuit. Very strange problem. When I touch it, whatever ground I'm influencing in there is somehow allowing it to work. Not what you'd expect. So we're going all the way to here. I'm wondering if it's my tenure of not worrying about capacitors coming back to bite me. Capacitors, whatever, who cares? And then I end up having some kind of a weird ground loop issue. Possible, but it's not very probable. Man, it is chilly and icy out there, isn't it? Shop's getting a bit cold because I have the window cracked. I like oxygen. I like breathing it. So I keep a window cracked almost year-round. But it's starting to get very, very chilly here in Pennsylvania. We somehow avoided all of this sort of world-ending snow that the Northeast is getting hammered with right now. All right, so there's our ground wire. Now we got to make sure that it's making contact. And that gives us a slightly more local ground, even though I think those already have a pretty local ground. We are on the far end of the board, so maybe that's what's causing the weird issue. And my touching of the board gives it a different ground path that fixes everything. Possible. I want to anchor this down so it doesn't catch on anything. Anchor it so it doesn't catch. Ooh, I got a little too close to the soldering iron there. Okay, cool. So, new ground, who dis? Let's try it. It turns out it wasn't the amplifier. So, maybe something connected to the amplifier going a little awry. Awry. Something going awry. It's not the power supply going into thermal mode. We're on this one, which is up here. Power on. Son of a bitch. Why? It was that hot? Whoa, it's getting hot down here. Oh, that's just where we were soldering. That's why it's warm. It's like, why is the nothing area of the board getting hot? Now, see, the power supply and then the chips are what should be getting hot. Why do you do this to me? Why are you like this? What if I take this off and we take one of the signals and we pump it in from the other driver? Where did the clip go? Where did the clip go? I put it away? No. It should still be out here somewhere. Probably fell on the floor, and now I'm never going to see it again. I don't know where it went. Where'd my clip go? This was not supposed to be what held us up. This should have been very straightforward, but things happen. Things certainly do happen. Yellow clip? Is it just gone? Okay, all right. I'll get another one. I'll get another one. Hold on. I'm just gonna look behind and around. Around, behind, and around. Nope. Okay. Clip out of here. Another one to lose. These hold a little better. Dang it. Triangle. Stable triangle. Rather, sawtooth. Stable sawtooth. Touching it? Not touching it. It is the board. What in the world? I've used no residue solder flux. No, I have not. I have not. Does it pass the lick test? It might not. Remember, with traditional solder flux, I use rosin core solder. I don't know what the other stuff is like. Yeah, I use what I use. That's all you're gonna get here. Me using what I use. There's like, it's like a completely clean signal. Is this one also dying in its own unique way? And it's not like I don't have power and ground on the power and ground pins. We got continuity. Continuity doesn't necessarily give us the full picture, but it gives us enough of the picture. By all troubleshooting means, this thing should work. Let me resolder all the pins. It's really only 3 o'clock. Oh. It's felt like a million years because of all of this stuff. Just boil the pins in, and maybe something will connect a little better. It's weird. It seems like a capacitor error or something of that nature. Yeah, flux is just the way of life. Broken pot. Maybe. But I'm not touching the potentiometers. I am touching any ground. If it's the ground on the cable, if it's the ground on, yeah, any ground. Like even if it's my probe's ground, it will correct it, and everything will function again. Low enough value to pass the signal through. I mean, we saw earlier that when I plugged in the wire to the plug directly, the op amp is doing exactly what it should do. It's the signal coming out of here that's not going through. And I don't know if it's something that the chip is referencing, if it could be a bad solder joint on the chip, but I've investigated a lot of that at this point, and it doesn't seem like it's the problem. If I swap boards, if I swap boards, it still happens to this one. So yeah, it is some kind of a connection issue. Wait a minute. But this gets the mother of all ground signals. It's like the first one to get ground. Coming up and over. It's just kind of a dodgy connection there. Ground up and over, and then it jumps, and then it lands here. Comes up through, and it makes just a giant connection right here. Go over all of this solder again, just to make sure. Just to be sure. Because yeah, it then, oops, well, that's fine. Those are the connections there. They seem to be okay. It's like when we plug in a signal to this, it's totally stable. So it would be something down here with the individual driver. But there doesn't appear to be any issue down here. And why does it correct itself when I touch any ground? I could touch ground on the scope and it would correct. Weird. Ground loops are insidious, if you haven't noticed. All right, let me fire it up again, and we're going to have the same error, but this time we can scratch our butts at it a little bit more. And I can show you guys all the variances of the error we're having. So it's this one. Well, it's both of these. So it's both outputs from one driver. It doesn't matter which driver it is. If I swap it out, it'll have the same error. Powered on. There it goes. Well, now it's intermittent. Oh, my leg touching the table? I'm not touching anything. So I can touch a ground anywhere, not on the desk. If I touch the metal of the desk, oh yeah, if I find a little piece of conducting, a little magnet that's scratched onto the desk, yeah, it stabilizes it. What the, why is it so sensitive? Anything that's connected to ground. I got plenty of capacitors for filtering this stuff. And all the other channels are totally stable. That is a hot one to touch. Ow, ow. Hurting me. What the fuck? Why would this one be all stupid? What is required in order to get this to kind of shut up? How do I get you to shut the hell up and just work? Because, like, these work. They work perfectly. There's no problems with it at all. But this one's ass. This one gets all weird and ass-like. Just by virtue of the fact that it's on the fringe. And we tied the grounds together. Well, okay, on the connectors we did. Maybe if we tie these grounds to something, it'll fix it. Maybe we're creating a little bit of like an RF scenario. Let's try grounding the audio output plugs in what has become a very baffling set of problems here. We can just tie this right here to this one and this one. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Okay, so my sample wire, where did that go? This one will do. And then we take this one here. And like I've been over every solder joint. These are built the same way for each subsequent one. Why would my touching ground? Well, it's like it's not interrupting any of the digital pins because we can see the digital signals coming through perfectly. What a weird issue. And why would it affect the signal in the way that it did? Well, because the trigger on the scope is what's capturing that. So it's triggering it over and over again. And so it'll just show what's on the outset of the trigger. We don't know how periodic that signal is. I mean, when in doubt, you sprinkle capacitors all over the board, but I don't want to do that. Because there's no, we've got a repeating structure on this circuit, and one piece of the repeating structure is going awry in a way that doesn't indicate that it's something like power issues, because we looked closely at power, and power was fine. Everybody was getting power. They were also kung fu fighting. Those are some kicks. And then kink the wire here and just run parallel for just a second. Cut that a little bit further up. It's buddy. I do need to, like, a lick test to see if I get buzzing from anywhere. Tweezers, they're over here. Okay. It's not track flux, tacky flux. Tacky flux is just kind of like a gel flux, and it's the stuff that I use in the syringe. So there's the rosin core that's in the core of the solder. That's most of the stuff that you see around here. But when I come into a board to do some reworking, and I want to rework some solder from something that's had all the flux cleaned off of it, I will add a little bit of tacky flux on it. Tacky flux is just sort of a gel-like flux material that when you heat it up, it'll then spread out and propagate the components so that you can solder them more easily. It holds that heat in. Mantra for electronics gurus. Flux holds the heat in. And that's all they say. I hate flux, and I hate cleaning it, and I hate using it, and I hate breathing it. I have no love for flux. Yeah, Louis Rossmann has like a hot tub full of this stuff. It better be hot, because otherwise you're not really going to be getting into that tub. I can't believe how much he uses. It's insane. Also, he doesn't do a lot of electronics work anymore, does he? He runs the business, huh? Must be nice. He's done a lot of really good work, though, for getting the legal system's head out of its ass in terms of being able to repair electronics. So I have much love for Louis Rossmann. I have no love for flux. All right, let's see what we got. I really should machine a new base for this thing, but it's almost part of the character of this holder that it's so kind of cheesy, because I pretty much made it with a piece of aluminum and a hacksaw. It's got these awful edges and everything. I don't know. I feel like I should make a new, like, ornate base for it. Ah! But if you have a pipe flaring tool, you can make something very similar to this. All this is a pipe flaring tool on the end of a piece of, like, what could be brake line. And then this is the fanciest part of the whole thing, is this knurled knob. But I could 3D print something better than this that would use ball bearings. It's nice to have, though. I can chuck this around, but this thing was $75. And I thought, why would I spend that much on a solder holder? And it's like, well, I use it a lot. I use it a lot. He switched over to other things? I see. Interesting. Well, what other things? I'm curious. I wonder if there's any Louis Rossmann fans out there. I didn't like his audio. It was overproduced. Please don't do the thing. Please don't do the thing. It's doing a thing that I don't understand. What? This is indicative of it not getting minus 12. What? Why? What have I done? What have I done? What have I done to you to deserve this? We added ground, and now it goes in the opposite direction, and it doesn't have minus 12. But it only corrects when I touch it. Oh, I connected to the -12. Okay, that was my bad. That's on me. That's on me. I connected to -12. I should have been connecting to this pin right here. That's on me. That's a me thing. Let's just rip up the whole thing. It'll only take a second for me to redo it. Saw a video demonstrating why you should clean flux off the board. The guy was reading negative voltage, but it wasn't right. It's not a flux problem in this circuit. Things aren't close enough together for the flux to really matter. And then also you can take troubleshooting logic and say, well, there's flux all over the board, so why would it just affect the one driver? If there's flux all over the board and it was somehow magically conducting, then I would be having this problem throughout. Deductive reasoning is a big part of troubleshooting, and it's something that, I don't know, I kind of have intuitively learned over the years. So we were just simply shorting -12 to ground. It's no wonder that my power supply didn't detect something up, but I guess it didn't. If I'd looked at the milliamp gauges, I bet you I could have gotten a good impression of what was going on. So anyway, we're going to be taking this ground here and putting it up to those two pins and seeing if we get a different result. The definition of insanity. So we're going from this pin, not the one above it. Not again. Oh, damn it. This is not a sanctioned solution for this sort of thing. I don't think this is really, I'm sort of taking a shot in the dark, putting the ground on these pins, because we've already proven that ground exists on these pins because the board is what's shorting it. I'm adding more ground coverage to this thing as if I was designing a PCB. I don't think that's the solution, though. But I'm that out of things to try. There's that. Because it seems absurd to me that it would be the remoteness of the ground would be causing this error. And this error happens regardless of the board that we've got on there. And it happens with two different op amps, two totally different op amps. So what then? Gotta do this without cutting the other wire. This has been frustrating, but this has been a wonderful example of troubleshooting. Things that you think should take 5 minutes take 2 days. This is just what happens. It's just what happens. Welcome to home-built electronics, you know? Homegrown electronics. But you can see the whole thing is like a puzzle game. It's like a puzzle game. I need to figure out what's wrong with it. I may never figure out what's wrong with it, to be honest. I may not be able to figure this one out, although logically there is probably a good explanation depending on your expertise in electronicals and circuits. But we may also never know. So, all right, now without the massive ground error that I introduced before, what happens? this channel. I'll put you back on the ARM screen. Don't do it. Don't you do it. We're not out of the woods yet. Oh. Huh. Ah, there it is again. Damn it. Looks like I'm close enough that I'm stabilizing it. Back away from it. What is it? This is a 6-signal generator that we've put together with a Teensy 3.0. Teensy 3.0 and the waveform library. I've got a screen on there and settings and all that stuff that we need to program later. But what's happening right now is I think the circuit has ghosts, and we should probably all do cocaine at it. There's just a weird wave error that only occurs, it only fixes itself when I touch the circuit. Something about my noise getting into this thing is fixing it. This is for a Euro rack, so these are plus minus 10-volt signals. Yeah, it's some kind of a ground issue, and I keep grounding things and fixing the solder, and it keeps having the issue again. What happens is Gonad might have some, Gonad, you might be a psychic. The pot. You're right. You're absolute. No, it's because of the proxy to my hand. So if I touch the potentiometer like that, you can see that weird error. That's what it was doing 24/7. It was just looking like that. You might be onto something. It looks like the feedback from my hand is getting into the gain circuit. And so the gain shoots like up and down for like a 60 hertz wave. I think that may be what's going on. And that's why we only see one on screen, because this is a 260 1.63. I don't have that number sitting right in front of me on the programming window. This is a 260 hertz wave. This might represent 60 hertz. So as the 60 hertz noise is going up and down, looking a lot like channel 2, you can see where we would see one waveform. Ah, I think we got it. Oh, the crazy frequency for my lights, we actually put a filter on. That was one of the uploads that I did. It was a great stream because we put this big filter on the beginning, and it totally quieted these lights down. There is still a little bit of a frequency coming from them, but mostly this is just my feedback noise. So again, like I said, are we going to get an explanation for it? And I thought, nah, we're probably not going to get an explanation. But we kind of do. 60 hertz waveform, we can see it goes positive for one of the cycles on this thing. And if I inject that 60 hertz gain into our feedback, suddenly we have only one. And remember, this is the stabilized channel, so it's going to look a lot cleaner than the noise that I was looking at before. So it might very well be the pot. I don't understand why it happened to an entire... Well, I guess it's getting into the op amp and doing horrible things to it. I may need some kind of a capacitor on the thing. Adding those grounds helped it. Adding the grounds certainly helped it, but it didn't totally solve the problem. So what else can I do? Let me see. Let me thunk on this for a minute. How are the two? These look pretty well soldered in. It's just the terribleness of the potentiometer itself is really what's coming into play. This whole section of the board is piping hot. It's very annoying. I was going to use the second half of stream today to find another regulator and put that in, because the one we chose is not liking the 200 milliamps. It's supposed to be able to work for 200 milliamps, though, so I don't know what the problem is. It needs to sort its shit out, is what it needs to do. You know, maybe it's possible that one of the little baubles of solder on the other end of the board is penetrating into one of the wires. It all seems okay, though. But yeah, Gonad was onto something. He said it was, you know, maybe the pots are crap. He's right. Who would have thought? It's weird, though, that it was happening in the opposite direction, where if I gave it noise, it stabilized. That might not be soldered as well as it should be. Where's solder? There's solder. Yeah, the old human antenna. What's up, Madam? You? Sorry, I've had my head down. I haven't been able to see you guys. Oh, oh, my enemy. Everybody hates me. I'm gonna cry. Away. Stupid brain. Get that song out of there. All right, so I went over it all again. I'm sure there's isolation. Always trust your gonad. Any gonads in chat, just gotta trust them. I got a feeling in my gonads about this. I don't know if a decoupling capacitor would actually do anything here. If I decoupled that line on plus and minus 12 to ground, would it be able to bleed away whatever's happening? I don't know. It's very possible. I like to see full waveforms. I like to see it. I have magical powers. Chat? Chat, are you there? Look at this. You have to look at it. You have to look at the screen in order to see what's going on here. Did I make a 60 hertz theremin? What is the antenna? This is designed to be used by a person touching it, not by magical. Well, I'm gonna call the X-Men or some shit. What is going on with this fucking thing? Why is that? I can hover my hand over it, any ground, and it affects the circuit. How do you solve that one? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of noise here. My 60 hertz noise. It's actually, you know what? It could be from my microphone. It could be from my microphone. I don't ground myself, no. And I'm wearing rubber shoes. What if I touch the stool with my actual socked foot? Nope, nothing. Where can I find a ground to ground myself? The desk? That causes blinking. Yeah, I'm under the ground. I mean, okay, if I touch the lead on the scope here, that grounds me. Why is it flashing, though? This is just bonkers. The signals that I'm seeing right now are just bonkers. Well, now we're not making any signals because we freaked it out. Restart. I have these two giant caps on this thing. This should be stable. Do I need a cap on 3 volts? I need like a something. It's communicating. It feels fear. It's afraid. What the? Weird. All right, well, I've got a whole host of problems, but we are at the end of the day, so I am going to leave this to mystery, this 60 hertz ridiculousness that's going on. I don't know. I'm going to throw a capacitor at it. Maybe a capacitor will solve all of my problems. This should be, this circuit should be something I could put in my mouth. It should work just fine with all the contact with humans. I have buttons on it in order to change what the signals are. So this thing had better work properly. And I've never seen anything happen like this before. This is some kind of a ground-related fault, although right now what's going on the scope is it's ducking in and out, which shouldn't be happening. That really should not be happening. And it doesn't happen when I touch it. Okay, it does happen when I touch it. Why is it doing that? God, what an interface. And I do still have to figure out what's happening with, see, that's just noise getting in. It suddenly shapes up when I touch it too. That's so weird. I think it's grounding me. I think I'm grounding myself through the circuit. So I gotta do some stuff to solve ground faults in here, even though it's got tons of grounds in it. Yeah, I don't have a ground strap, and it's very dry in the shop. It gets very dry in here. All right, anyway, solutions aren't going to be coming today. I'm going to try to figure this out over the weekend and get to programming. The programming is very difficult for me to do when I don't have my ADHD meds. Hopefully I get approval for that prescription soon, and I can get back into the swing of things as I was operating before. This is like 10 days ago. So I'm going to try to figure stuff out. Until then, I will be back on Tuesday. I'm going to just stick to my schedule. I'll be back on Tuesday. Hopefully we won't be noodling around with hardware the whole time, because that was a weird problem, and I've not had problems like that before. I'm not sure what I can do about that. There's a couple little like ESD things that I could do in order to maybe mitigate something similar to that, but this is like a big thing. This is like 60 hertz getting in there. 60 hertz getting into my sensitive electronics and causing all kinds of weird issues. It's not like we're doing things super high speed, and this is just audio frequencies. This stuff is just a cakewalk. It should be like impervious to noise at these frequencies. We're not dealing with RF. We're not dealing with anything super sensitive. We're dealing with 10 volt peak to peak signals getting into this thing and somehow mucking around. I don't understand. Absolutely ridiculous. But I'll catch you guys on Tuesday. Until then, join me in the Discord where we will noodle around with pictures of cats and whatnot else. Here's the end card. The date of next stream is completely wrong. I've just completely forgotten to update that. It's going to be on Tuesday though, so I'll put in the title next on Tuesday, and I will see you then. I'll see you guys in Discord. In the meantime, try to stay away from Path of Exile 2. It's going to eat up all your time anymore.